Wall Street rallies, though. The Dow up 553 at the closing bell. America is listening to Fox News.
Fly even higher and get to your destination with the United Credit Card from First Hawaiian Bank. You can earn 40,000 miles with $2,000 worth of spending within the first 3 months. That's 40,000 reasons to get on board with the First Hawaiian Bank United Credit Card. It all starts with yes. Certain restrictions apply. To learn more about this offer, visit any First Hawaiian Bank branch or go to fhb.com/United.
Half a day. I'm Bishop Mendiola, and I'm running for senator to promote lower cost of living, increase our food security, and ignite new economic sector development. I will put to work my fresh ideas, my experience as a small business owner to create legislation that removes the red tape on our economic growth. I want to pave the way to a prosperous, wealthy, and self-sustainable island community. I'm Bishop Mendiola, number 13 on the Republican ballot, and I approve this message.
A key prosecution witness stands by his testimony against a one-time entrepreneur convicted of fraud.
Former Theranos lab director Adam Rosendorf telling a judge in San Jose he testified truthfully and honestly at the federal fraud trial of disgraced CEO Elizabeth Holmes. Holmes' sentencing postponed to November 18th, with her attorneys demanding a new trial, claiming Rosendorf made an uninvited visit to her home and apologized to her partner over his testimony, which led to Holmes being convicted of defrauding investors about the progress her startup was making with blood testing methods. Rosendorf says he felt remorse about her young child being without a mother if she's sentenced to prison, and alleges Holmes is pregnant, which Holmes and her lawyers have not confirmed. But he adds Holmes needs to pay her debt to society.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin. The U.S. condemning more Russian attacks on the Ukrainian capital, hit earlier today by drone strikes, killing at least 4 civilians.
At a destroyed apartment block, it's utter devastation. Emergency crews rescue an elderly woman before carrying away the body of a man who was pulled from the debris. 28 drones were launched toward Kyiv today. All but 5 were shot down. We spoke with multiple Ukrainian officials today who stressed the need for more air defense systems. We actually saw soldiers and policemen with rifles trying to shoot down these Iranian drones as they targeted Kyiv.
Fox's Trey Yingst. A collection of wartime speeches from Ukraine's president will be published as a book.
The book, to be called A Message from Ukraine, comes out December 6th, published by Crown. President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says he chose 16 speeches that he hopes will help readers understand Ukrainians, their aspirations, principles, and values. Zelenskyy, a former actor and comedian, was elected in 2019, becoming a wartime leader since the Russian invasion in February. Proceeds from the book go to United 24. That's the charity he started to coordinate donations to Ukraine. Chris Foster, Fox News.
After the bell, the Dow up 550, the S&P up more than 2%, the NASDAQ gains more than 3%. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Half a day. I'm Jesse Anderson Lujan. Throughout this campaign, I've been presenting my plans to reduce inflation, rebuild our tourism industry, and fight the crystal meth and crime problems plaguing our island. Our government can do more to lift the burdens facing our families. If elected, I will be ready on day one to get to work to help make Guam safe again and urgently rebuild our economy. I humbly ask you, please vote Jesse Anderson Lujan, number 7, Republican. I'm Jesse Anderson Lujan, and I approve this message.
JV International Safety Equipment has it all for you. Fall protection, rain gear, traffic signs, speed bumps, custom signs and banners, PPEs, fire extinguishers, plus more. Check them out on Facebook at JV International Safety Equipment Company or visit their website, www.jvisec.com. JV International Safety Equipment, Guam's leader in occupational and environmental safety equipment. Call 688-9524. JV International Safety Equipment, located in Harmon Industrial Park.
A cat has 9 lives. Baseball gives us 9 innings and 9 players on the field. Greek mythology introduced us to 9 muses. A stitch in time saves 9. Everyone wants to dress to the nines or have the whole 9 yards. And happiness is found on cloud 9. This election, please vote number 9, Attorney Thomas Fisher, for senator on the Republican ballot.
I'm Thomas Fisher, and I approve this message.
Drake Diaz, treasurer.
It's that time of year again. It's Pika's Best. Vote now on GuamPDN.com. Please vote Take Care for Best Medical Insurance Company. Vote FHB Health Center for Best Medical Clinic, Best Dental Clinic, and Best Eye Clinic. Take Care, our island, your health plan.
a day and good morning, Guam. It's 6:06 on Tuesday, October 18. I'm Donna DeJesus with a look at your local news on The Point. A witness testified in Nicholas Moore's drive-by shooting trial on Monday that he was on the phone with Moore right before the shooting in Agana Heights in October of 2020. Moore is accused of shooting at two men and hitting one of them that night. He pleaded not guilty. Witness Juan J.T. Ablan Balanin says he knew Moore only through drug deals in the past. He adds that Moore contacted him for pills and arranged for Moore to meet a friend of his by the Agana Heights gym. While on the phone, he heard Moore say he saw someone who owed him $500 and heard him break out his gun. He told the court that he only knew that because he heard Moore say, "Yeah, it's a real gun, run." Balanin told Moore to stop, but the call was cut off and he noticed all the WhatsApp messages started getting deleted. He messaged Moore that night asking why he shot his friend Brian Bishop Mendiola and was surprised that Moore acted violently towards him. Moore faces charges of terrorizing and possession of an unregistered firearm. Meanwhile, MTM residents reported sightings of possible Chinese nationals walking the streets of the village on Monday afternoon. After hours of investigation, no arrests were made, even though authorities suspect 3 men of illegally entering Guam a month ago. MTM Mayor Rudy Paco says neighborhood watch groups noted suspicious individuals that speak very, very little English. Paco described the individuals as 3 men carrying backpacks. Customs Director Ike Pareto says they will not be investigating the case because the individuals were seen far from Guam's border. Pareto adds that they need to be cautious as to not be accused of racial profiling. Police Chief Stephen Ignacio says the individuals' arrival about a month ago was undetected and further emphasized that GPD would need a valid legal reason to stop them. He says, "We can't just stop you because you're Chinese." Ignacio explains that despite the recent unlawful arrivals by boat, they have only arrested the operators of the boats. The public is encouraged to report suspicious activity to Customs at 642-8071 or GPD at 475-8615. We'll have more news after this.
Stop by Olive Garden for their never-ending pasta bowls. Available for lunch and dinner. Choose a pasta, choose a sauce for $19.99. Add a never-ending topping for $7.99. You can mix and match your refills at no extra charge. Refill again and again. Your entree comes with never-ending soup or salad and never-ending breadsticks. Promotion is from October to November 20th. Olive Garden open every day from 11 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. for lunch and 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. for dinner. Please call 671-989-0008. Portions are not available for takeout.
Governor Luliang Guerrero is calling on lawmakers to jumpstart the payment process through the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission to start paying ancestral land owners who can't get their land back. The Ancestral Lands Commission has over $15 million in a land bank to compensate ancestral landowners, but the payment process has been stalled for years because of unresolved legal questions. The commission tried to get payment rules approved in 2017, but the AG's office stated that the rules and regulations submitted by the commission were impermissibly contradict existing statutes. Those rules call for ancestral landowners to be paid indefinitely without having to give up claim to the property for which they are being paid, which the AG's office says is not just compensation. The governor, the AG's office, and several agencies prepared the Land Bank Reform Act of 2022. The bill would clarify the criteria for ancestral owners eligible to receive compensation, allow other funding sources to be used to pay landowners, including Section 30 money, and provide a means for ancestral claims to be calculated and paid to the land's original owners or their descendants. In national news, the Supreme Court has declined to consider overturning the Insular cases, whether American Samoans have full U.S. citizenship at birth. A group of American Samoans challenging the current law, which considers AmSam people U.S. nationals at birth and not citizens, says it is a remnant of racist policies toward territories. The Supreme Court's decision not to hear the case means the lower court ruling remains in place. U.S. nationals can live and work anywhere in the U.S. and can travel under a U.S. passport, although the challengers' lawyers note that their passports include a statement saying, "not a U.S. citizen," which they say carries a stigma. U.S. nationals can apply for full U.S. citizenship via an expedited process. AmSam is the only territory to which Congress has not extended birthright citizenship. And those are your top stories here on The Point. Now here's Ray with your weather.
Well, what a great day that is. 6:11 in the morning. Lots and lots to talk about. But as the lady says, we'll start with some weather. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are in today's forecast. Mostly cloudy skies. You're going to see some of that here today. Daytime highs near about 87 degrees. East-southeast winds up to about 14 miles an hour. Let me see if I can get some radar up on the screen so you can see what we're in for right about now. A little bit of the cloudy stuff that's going to be washing over the north end of town. A little bit into the south. Looks like the middle is going to be clear today. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are possible if we get some more of this snotty weather to the southeast moving into our forecast area. Mostly cloudy. Overnight lows around 76 degrees. About the same thing for tomorrow. Mostly cloudy. Highs near 88. With a heat index, it'll feel like 92 today and tomorrow. Partly cloudy tomorrow night. And overnight lows of about 76 degrees. Sunrise this morning. Right now. Go outside right now and look out to where the sun is going to be coming up. It's on the Pirates Cove side of the island. And take a look and see if we're going to have something gorgeous. Sunset tonight is going to be at 6 o'clock flat. There it is. News and weather together brought to you by Bank Pacific. Banking on the Pacific for 68 years.
Guam Regional Medical City was awarded Advanced Primary Stroke Center certification from the Joint Commission. What does this mean? It means our neuroscience team is equipped with the latest technology and a team of the finest neurological doctors to treat stroke, which is one of the leading causes of death on Guam. GRMC, reflecting our commitment to providing safe and quality patient care. For more information about GRMC, visit us at grmc.gu or to make an appointment, call 671-633-GRMC.
Gas is expensive, so let the bank come to you. Through our remote deposit capture, you can deposit your checks into your account from your phone. And with our Dynamite Bank Pacific Visa debit card, you can use your money anytime, anywhere. It's the perfect combo.
Now we're banking on the future services to choose. Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender. Member FDIC. Crank it up.
Cranking it up, making you feel good on a, what is it, Tuesday morning? Right on. Ray Gibson Show brought to you by APL, American President Lines, a global presence with a local home. Also being brought to you by NutraWay Systems. Find them on the second floor of the Daily Plaza building. Interested in your health and wellness moving forward with the rest of 2022? Let these guys give you some directions. 864-7867. That's 671-864-7867.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
It's going to be coming. I think it'll be coming in buckets. There'll be buckets of butt hurt today. And you might be going, why? What's going on? It's the Insular cases were not picked up by the Supreme Court. They let that one go. Yeah. So we're not going to be touching this. It's all over the news now. I first got word of it. Neil Weir had sent something out a little bit earlier this morning, and I took a look at it. Went through a couple of other links to see if I could get more information on it. And it's just about everybody, everywhere. And you will see the phrase racist insular cases. And that's going to be kind of all over the place and everywhere. I got a feeling before too much longer, I think some of the activists, et cetera, are going to be contacted here, and they will be talking about racist.
And to blow the horn.
In the insular cases. Now, that might not necessarily be a bad thing. For those of you that spend a lot of time listening to Tall Tales and Bob Klitsky, he has made a case, not necessarily for what many people consider the racist language of the insular cases, but benefits that accrue virtually exclusively to Guam as a result of those kinds of things. It's possible we'll find him and see if I can break some radio silence with Klitsky. Otherwise, I've got a bunch of other brilliant legal minds that I can go through and talk about this. But start doing the search now. As I said, NBC News with a story: Supreme Court declines to consider overturning. There it is. There's the phrase: racist insular cases. Yeah. That's it. Independence now. Commonwealth in the very least. What can I say? 6:16 on the Ray Gibson Show. Did I already start with the welcome to the program? Excuse the mess thing?
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. Things all runs together in my head after a certain amount of time. All right. Well, if I haven't, just leave it as read that I did. My name is Ray. Thrilled as usual to be here with you. It's Tuesday morning, and why do we love Tuesdays? Hawaii Free Press.
That's right, brother.
I got some interesting stories. You know, we got to talk about a doctor shortage that we've got here. We're not the only ones.
Yeah.
It's worse there, and people that they're having a hard time. Some positions they're having a hard time filling in the state of Hawaii. They say they may be short by 1,000 doctors in a bunch of different high-end specialties, and the reason probably is because nobody, even if you're making doctor money, can't live in Hawaii. More on that a little bit later on. Anyway, Real Joe gets the phone when you call it 888-8255-888-TALK. Donna D's going to take care of news and headlines. Do we have an interesting full plate of news and headlines here this morning?
No.
All right, that means that.
Wow, Donna D.
It's okay. All right, I don't want any. Don't panic. That's my job. I've got enough here to talk about, here we are. It's exactly 3 weeks away from the general election. Obviously, literally 3 weeks away from the general election.
Yeah.
It's some of it has already started. Obviously, we've got the early voting going on, but you can tell now. You can tell now that we are very, very close to finally, I think, getting that kind of demolition derby feel in what's happening around here.
Wrap it up, man.
I know. Come
on.
Sadik, a lot of people were waiting for all of that, and now it looks like it might finally be happening. And by way of example, let me throw a couple of things up on the screen. What was in your WhatsApp yesterday? Did you see this?
Wow.
It's an infographic. I love infographics. And here it comes now, the accusations that Lulian Guerrero is laundering money. Specifically the ARP money, and this is the way we're going to do this. We'll start with emergency procurement, sole source, no bind bidding required, and then we go to Bank of Guam clients, including Packstar and AutoSpot, who get that money in the form of purchases. Then they make loan payments back to the Bank of Guam, and then the bank pays dividends from the Bank of Guam into Lulian Guerrero's family, and that's how the laundering of the ARP money is happening.
Who made that, Ray?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm going. Can I make an assumption?
You could, man. I have a couple of guesses.
A Republican. I think a Republican put this all together. I don't know which one, but I would, because it doesn't look like the thing that, a Democrat all-in somebody might be interested in putting together. I don't know. I'd like to know what software you were using. Is this Canva or Banner Snack? Is that what you used to put it together?
It's nice. It's well put together.
I think, it's got the whole triangle thing in the beginning of it, and a bunch of other stuff that's floating around. So you got that one, and then yesterday, you remember former Governor Carl T.C. Gutierrez?
I do.
On the radio 3 times yesterday, once live and in person and on the phone with us, and then the other time in what we refer to as a feature-length commercial, about 2.5 minutes of these guys don't know what they're talking about, and they're playing fast and loose with the facts with regard to GVB's budget, saying, well, they had $20 million and it's all gone now. And apparently they have addressed that in another one of these podcasty things that they've done. And I know that because I woke up to a notice this morning on my Instagram that said, hey, you've been mentioned. And would you like to add this to your stories on Instagram? To the Camacho Ada people that are following me around on Instagram, this is work. Don't send me work on my Instagram.
Yeah,
the
man.
Instagram
It's for fun.
It's for Asian models in bikinis.
Oh Lord, Ray.
I'm just saying. It's the
Yeah,
last
workout
thing,
videos, right?
Last thing
Come
I
on,
want to
man.
do. Well, the jump rope stuff.
The
I got a lot
jump
of
rope. Okay,
things in
yeah.
there.
See, working out. Yeah.
And but otherwise, Asian girls in bikinis, beach shots, that kind of thing. When you send me this kind of thing, it's work. What is this kind of thing? This is screen cap from the Camacho Ada rebuttal to GVB's rebuttal of their podcast. It says, for the record, this is not a lie. The BBMR report from September 30th, 2022 clearly shows a zero balance of the GVB $20 million ARP funding. And the question that I have, not being an expert on the documentation, spreadsheets, and reports in the government of Guam, my question is, what the hell is he talking about in this one? Is this GVB's accounting, or is this another document from BBMR? So, Les Carlson, if you're listening, if you're not butthurt over the Insular cases story, we'll be reaching out to you at some point this morning to help determine whether this would be the appropriate document for which to launch allegations of fiscal malfeasance and runaway spending over at the Guam Visitors Bureau. Just asking, and I'm not complaining, guys. I just want to make it clear. I'm not complaining. I'm saying finally we have something that looks like, feels like fireworks. But the question is does anybody really care? Is there anybody out there on either side that is going to have their minds changed by some of the images that are floating around in the emails and the WhatsApps and apparently even the Instagrams? I mean, is that going to be doing anything to move anybody's needle from all in to all out, or never mind Felix and Tony to those are my men, those are my heroes, trying to stay as independent and fair and unbiased in these conversations as we make our way 3 weeks away from the general election. Now I'm wondering if there's people, after having shown these things, I wonder if there's people that go, crap, I knew I shouldn't have early voted. Can I go back to the
big turnout, man?
Maria Pagli, yeah. Can I? You know what? I changed my mind about Lou and Josh. Can I have my ballot back? Is there any way? I remember what it looked like. I used the blue pen.
Yeah.
and I know what my handwriting.
We'll dig it out for you, Ray Gibson.
Right? Is it possible? Man, I changed my mind. 6:22 on the Ray Gibson Show. So much to get through, but so many other people that I've got to acknowledge as being big parts of the show, almost as big as Donna and Real Joe, and that's these guys here.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name. You wanna go where people know people are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
Gotcha. Let me see now. Okay. This is on the. I got to make sure I'm on the right Facebook and whatever pages to make sure I get to see who came in first this morning. It's my Auntie Bennett, Luan Duenas. Dima.
Auntie, morning.
She's works over at Family Finance. The amazing Keena McCausland saying good morning to her Point Familia. There it is. Big man Rico B. Post Canteen online. And they did not get a winner. I forgot to mention this yesterday. They did not get a winner.
80 grand now, Ray?
Oh, it's $20 million.
Almost.
That's where all of that GVB money went.
$20 million.
Is over at the VFW in the Chico. You get the right card, you can go up there and get all of Carl Gutierrez's money. It's $20 million. Actually, it's $2,300, almost $3,000, as I say. So get lined up to go and hang out with these guys Friday evening at 7 o'clock at the VFW in Gigo. I think it only costs you $1 to get into the contest and into the race. Nate Horn is here. I see Francie Salas. Good morning to Juanita Machi. Jay Rojas is online today.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
That's 50% of the jingles that are available for Point Family. One of them is Jay Rojas, and the other was former Governor Carl T.C. Gutierrez.
Bring back the sunshine. Bring back that sunshine. He's bringing back that sunshine. Uncle Carl Gutierrez brings it every time.
There it is, man. It doesn't get any better than this. That's kind of a sad statement. It's not good.
You can buy those as ringtones, right?
We're this
ThePOINT.gu.
There's this peak Ray Gibson show happening right now. Let me see. My bro Brad Wood is hanging out. Him and Lucia and Sarita Guerin. There's beautiful Sarita Guerin. Are you in town? Why do I think that she? I don't want to say she's off.
She
island.
made it.
But did you not send me pictures showing the outside wing of an airplane headed in that direction? Just curious. Anyway, I got our favorite artist, Ron Castro, is online. Hey, Alex Affligwe saying good morning. Chairman Ray and the staff. Let me see here. Henry Manglotnia and Keena McCausland saying the New York Yankees are still in. Keena, nobody cares about baseball. It's Tuesday, which means there's a Monday night game. And I might as well say it now that if you were looking for someplace to go watch the Monday night game, all you need to do is see if you can get your locator and drop a pin on sidelines this morning. It's a game day. They had, you know what, they had one yesterday, and I found out late. But they've got a buffet. It's like $15 to get in, and there's a buffet, an incredible spread of food. They had roast beef, and they had fried spare ribs, obviously rice and salad and things like that.
Super Bowl every time there.
Every time. So, and they got another one today. There's another one happening today. So you got the Broncos-Chargers game, and I'm not going to say that if you go to the sidelines, you shouldn't count the all-in stickers on the car. I'm just saying that, if you need to spend some time with certain directors and certain GovGuam agencies, you might find them today over at Sidelines for the Broncos-Chargers game going to be taking place. So about 10 o'clock is when they'll open the doors, and the kickoff is going to be about quarter after 10 o'clock for your sports information. Who else we got here? Jerome McDonald online saying good morning to everybody, and Rico B., Charles Craw, and Tricia Santos Baker. Real Joe.
Right click.
Right click. Thank you very much. I got Pat Saho there. When Rowie is online, Tim Zedeker is saying his hellos and the good mornings. Now I got to switch over to the handheld device and see who I've missed here. Mike Grace Blas. I got Jose Tetpago Jr. And Dave Duenas Biba. He gets a Biba because he's running for office. I already said Pat Saho, so I'll say John Duenas this time. Hi, Penny Cruz. Good to see you there. Harvey Egna. Why bother calling in the Chinese if they're released? Wait. What's the headline? We can't just stop you because you're Chinese. That's a T-shirt, bro.
Batsaguri. I get stopped all the time.
Could you?
Yeah.
Batsaku. Everything is Batsaku. I got Margaret Estachio is there. Hava Jane Nauta. Joanne Taitano. Tattoo Shauna. Speaking of Batsaku, online here this morning. Good to see you, sweetheart. Richard Leon and Biba Sandra Regis is there.
Hey, Biba.
Brancho's chilling. All right, so the public are told to report suspicious persons, and when they do, law enforcement says they can't do anything. There it is. This is the catch-22 of these Chinese, while not citizens and apparently not some kind of invaders from a foreign land, but they legally went, I guess, to CNMI, to Saipan, and decided that, it's not enough action. Not enough karaoke.
Yeah, too slow over there.
Yeah. How come they put the bass MSG and everything? What is that? We're going to go someplace where we've got a choice. MSG, no MSG. All you need to do is tell your server. And so they decided that we're going to make Guam our new temporary sort of America home. But the problem is they're not coming here the right way. They're not coming in through any ports. They're not stopping by the Rory's port. They're not swinging up at the airport.
Fill out the form, right?
Yeah. There's paperwork you got to do here, guys. But I'm with you. Brancho, you're absolutely right. There it is. What do you want us to do? Because I'm not going to go and start, accosting random Chinese in the village.
You're not?
No, maybe I will. I mean,
all right.
There's a certain
it's a militia thing.
After I take my nap and then I wake up and take care of emails and WhatsApps and things like that. But there's usually a long time
there's
between
a window, right?
When I'm done with that and when I decide where it is I'm going to be hanging out tonight, and maybe in that little window I can just kind of walk around the village with not Pika's favorite mayor, but my favorite mayor, Rudy Paco, and see if we can go catch some of these guys. Joe and Goko online. I got Henry Manglotnia, as I said, Anna Marie Babauta Balbin is watching the show. So is Vivian Castro Leon. Ed Buendizzo, a.k.a. Bandit, is hanging out with us. The hot sister of the program. There's Pam Duval. And Bunker says, Biba to the speaker, Therese. Hey, Cousin Troy is online.
Biba. Hey, that's my favorite cello. Good morning.
I'm not going to say that Cousin Troy should get a jingle.
Oh.
But I don't know. I mean, he's like part of my actual family.
You're right.
Like a jingle just for him
special.
or for Candid?
Well, I think maybe a Candid jingle. Just include everybody, Johnny, and
yeah,
exactly. We should see if we
skipper
can include
too.
everybody and the skipper.
The millionaire and his wife.
Yes.
Marie Arrejo Kaingat is online. Sarita saying, welcome back to Nate Horn. What's that? Pam Duvall says, morning all, had my second Shingrich shot yesterday. Boy, am I sore. I'm not going to work today. Yay! So what are you going to cook for us?
Hey.
What's on the menu for today? Sarita is off island, listening from Clark in Pampanga in the Philippines. And what do I want for the Philippines? 110-pound rice cooker. Thank you very much. Mark Cruz is there. I got Sunny Lujan. Good morning to my Kapili family from Jigo to Maleso. Good to have you online doing that wave thing. Our favorite accountant is Benita Menglotnya. Hey, Benita. Does Tony Annan know what he's talking about when he's doing this BBMR thing and $20 million is that indicative of maybe the guy needs a briefing? Maybe like Les or somebody from DOA or somebody needs to go, no, you're reading it wrong. Because that's what I'm getting from folks. I got Brennan. Lorna Anikas is online. Good to see you. Lorna. Ate Lorna has posted a picture, a graduation shot of her in 1983. Did you see that? That's so sweet. More like that, Lorna. I got Brennan Fausto says, Jigo Jarhead veterans watching. Let's go. Who else is there? Nonito Blah, Scott K. Armstrong. Sarita asking, is catch and release the new trend on Guam? No, it's not a new trend. We've been doing this. It's
barbless hooks.
It's just more. There's so much more crime now. You're just noticing it more. And it's been done for many years. You see those girls with the big hickeys on their neck. So that's not catch and release. That's tag and release.
Oh, I see.
Right. And we've been. I mean, that's
tracking. For tracking purposes.
It's been that's been a big thing around here for a long time. James Schmidt, is Jim Bohannon retiring? And the answer is yes. You might have caught last night what was his last show. And a bunch of people calling in and doing tributes. He is not well, unfortunately, and it looks like he's retiring for health purposes and things like that. The guy that's been doing his show, I'm not going to remember his name for a second. You can go to ThePOINT.gu. I put a story up there about his retirement, and one of the guys that's been subbing for him recently is going to be taking on the reins of the show.
Jose Martinez.
Yeah, it's Jose. Yeah, it's him.
I knew it.
So that's the story on him. And, just from a personal perspective, this guy has been a part of my talk radio career ever since. And one of my favorite things about the Jim Bohannon show is you can run it anytime. There's, sometimes it's very news and very timely, and other times it just picks an interesting topic or an interesting guest and stays with it. So I'm definitely going to miss that, and I hope the new guy keeps that up. I hope
Valdez with an S.
Yeah, that guy. There we go. I hope he keeps the guy that does the record thing, right? Where you call up and say, I've got, vinyl edition in mono of a Rolling Stones song, and he'll tell you that's worth $1 million. But if it had been in stereo, they made a whole lot of those, so it's only worth like 75 cents. Hey, congratulations. I hope they keep that guy. I got, let me see, Rudy Rodolfo, the original Burger King. Stephen Applegate's online.
Real guy?
Real human. I've met him, actually. I've met him. I've been to his house, and I've seen his big-ass TV.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's like the entire side of the wall. Of course, when I was there, nobody was watching anything. So just this little, Samsung screensaver that bounces around like Pong on his...
You can't afford cable with a TV that big.
Well,
jeez.
I think he makes his own shows. I got, what's that, Jerome? I got a call from my doctor this morning. He said it's time for my colonoscopy.
Oh, great.
Let's put that on Stephen Applegate's TV.
I want to just...
Can we get a video of that? Doctor, are those my guts? Yes, it is. Tim Flores saying, "Be-ba." Sarita Garin says, LOL, 110-pound rice cooker. She just got it. She just got it. Mike Grace Bloss is online.
Nice.
And Auntie Bennett saying good morning from one Kapili out in Barragata. So family reunion going on here at the radio station. We're also keeping track of what's happening on the YouTube side. A bunch of people already lined up, including Who's Your Big Daddy 06. He always comes in first. Francis Salas, far from home. My bro MP Ogle. That's the security guy for the show. So if we are ever surrounded by Chi-Coms, Chinese guys that, kind of found their way to Guam. Piogo is the guy that you call to take care of that. Lupang Guam is there. Kitsuto in Japan, who is pointing out that the yen rate continues to just escalate. Where's the number here? Do I have the number? It's 146.6 yen to the greenback in Yokosuka. And I don't know whose bike that is. It's got a basket on it, so I'm going to assume it's not Kitsuto in Japan.
It's not.
No. But,
it's a nice bike, though.
Need to put some Easter colors in that basket. We got to get that thing up here. And sunrise, sunset. Last night's sunset in Yokosuka, absolutely gorgeous. One of those boats, Bill Gates.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, one of those. I think usually the one with the tallest thing on it. 6:35 in the morning in the Ray Gibson Show. Might as well get started. Might as well start looking at what the big stories are going to be and what is going to be raising eyebrows around here. As I said, I think the big story that is probably going to be written about the most. My guess is they're going to dig out Neil Weir and Mike Bavacqua and Hope Cristobal and any number of other people and ask them how they really feel about the Supreme Court using their SCOTUS 10-foot pole on the racist insular cases. So that's going to be the big story tomorrow. We'll get some of the splains on it today, and there's all kinds of other stuff. In fact, let's get the primer now from Donna D. A quick look at news and headlines from her perspective. Donna. What happened?
Jensen DeVellis, who was accused in a shooting in Dedido, is hoping to be released under electronic monitoring. The shooting in Tranquilo Court sent another man to the hospital. His co-actor, Justin Duenas, has since taken a plea deal and awaits sentencing. Judge Vern Perez says he may consider DeVellis' release for a short time, but would require a third-party custodian. He's scheduled to be back in court on November 3 to either cut a plea deal or go to trial. And 31-year-old Thomas Taitino is being spared jail time for a new case where he was accused of assaulting a police officer. Taitino says he was high on meth when he led officers on a chase through Dedido and admitted to assaulting the arresting officer. Taitino was sentenced to 1 year with all but 3 months suspended and credit for time served. This means he's freed in the case, but he remains in prison for violating his parole in connection to the 2019 murder of Keith Castro. His co-actor Joshua Palacios is serving time for the killing. And early voting has already surpassed this year's primary, and Guam Election Commission Executive Director Maria Pangilinan says early voting is surpassing the 2020 general election. The first week saw about 1,800 early voters. The second week of early voting begins today at 9 o'clock at the Westin. Registration ends on October 24, and online and motor voter registration ends tomorrow afternoon at 5 o'clock. Homebound voters can call 477-9791. And those are your local headlines on The Point. Now back to Ray.
In one 1901 case, folks from the NBC write, in one 1901 case, Justice Henry Billings Brown referenced territories as lands inhabited by alien races who might not abide by Anglo-Saxon principles. 5 years earlier, Brown had authored the notorious Plessy versus Ferguson ruling that gave the seal of approval to racial segregation. In a separate opinion in the 1901 case, Justice Edward Douglas White said the United States had the right to acquire an unknown island peopled with an uncivilized race. With savages. That body, don't eat with your hands without having to confer full constitutional protections. Several other rulings followed in which the theory that certain rights but not others applied to people in territories was further developed. And I think one of the platforms proffered by former Senator and Tall Tales host Bob Klitsky is they weren't talking about us.
Wow.
You ever get that feel? Oh, they're the uncivilized ones that the judges were talking about, not us. Come on, we take off our shoes when we come in the house. 6:39 on the Ray Gibson Show. Can you tell where I might be headed with the program today? Tell you what, we got to stop down, do some surveillance, see what's happening on the roads, etc. So stick around, Brown. I'll be right back.
Half a day. I'm Bisho Mendiola, and I'm running for senator to promote lower cost of living, increase our food security, and ignite new economic sector development. I will put to work my fresh ideas, my experience as a small business owner to create legislation that removes the red tape on our economic growth. I want to pave the way to a prosperous, wealthy, and self-sustainable island community. I'm Bisho Mendiola, number 13 on the Republican ballot, and I approve this message.
What's for breakfast at KFC under $3.95, you ask? What's for breakfast at KFC that's different than the other guys, you ask? KFC's chicken wrap, sausage wrap, the Colonel's chicken congee, chicken fried steak, sausage biscuit and gravy, and biscuit sandwiches made with KFC's original fluffy biscuits. All for under $3.95 and all only at KFC. Plus, with waffles and the Colonel's chicken fried rice, we've got something for everyone.
So visit KFC for breakfast today. It's finger-licking good.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they will continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $4,100 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 671-475-4545, Upper Tumon 671-647-5626, or in Dededo 671-633-4473.
In 20 minutes, it'll be 7 o'clock in the morning. Is there already traffic? Oddly, there is some traffic lurking for you this morning. Tiny bit in front of Anderson Air Force Base. Then we got southbound Marine Corps Drive. Not yet getting big down by, Waisang Song, but I think it's coming. We've also got a little bit of traffic over at the intersection of 1 and 3 and up at Ukadu. And then I think that's it. I think it's just going to be intersection traffic through most of the rest of the area. No joy on Route 15, back road to Anderson. And we got that 4-way stop that's already slowing things down up around Adakau. Also seeing a little bit of traffic in both directions running slow, not too far away. I want to say, is that getting close to Hawaiian Rock or something like that? I don't know. I got to zoom in a little bit tighter, but I can't do it right now, so I want to keep going. Don't have a lot happening. Route 4 into town, Route 8 into town also running clear. Things are looking pretty good on Route 10 by the university and all the schools. Southbound Marine Corps Drive in the PD area looking really good. Not a whole lot of traffic right now, believe it or not, at Big Navy in Sumai. So it's a good day to drive. 641. One note, though. Who the hell thinks it's funny to be spreading messages on WhatsApp that there's a gigantic sinkhole affecting southbound traffic on Marine Corps Drive?
Oh, even one news place is putting it up as news. and I went over there like 100 times yesterday.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you look or did you?
There's nothing happening there.
I got it
It's a
as
hoax.
well. Okay, Ray Gibson, not a journalist. I'm just a radio guy, right? And so I got it in the middle of the night on one of my Facebook or WhatsApp chats, and I said, well, I tell you what, I would normally go to work going through Teedson, but today I'll take the additional time and go on Marine Corps Drive and see if I can find these sinkholes that some idiot on WhatsApp thinks is so damn hilarious. There are no sinkholes on Marine Corps Drive. That's the story, ladies and gentlemen. I checked, and if you got a note from a media company around here that said that there were, never trust them again. They've burned the bridge. It's 5 minutes to send a guy out and take a look at it. 642 in the Ray Gibson Show. More coming up.
What drives you? The Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration is recruiting bus drivers. You don't need any experience to apply. Just a driver's license, be at least 18 years old, have a high school diploma, pass a drug test, and have a clean traffic record. We will cover the cost of training, and the best part, it is a paid internship, so you can earn money while you learn and get certified. At the end of training, you'll have a job waiting for you with the Guam Regional Transit Authority or the Department of Public Works. This is part of our administration's larger effort to strengthen our workforce through training programs at the Department of Labor and Guam Community College, where we've already helped hundreds of people get into meaningful careers. For more information, visit the American Job Center at the GCIC building in Hagåtña, 3rd floor, or call 671-475-7000.
Application period is from October 3rd to October 21st. This ad is supported by employment and training funds from the U.S. Department of Labor as part of an award totaling $4.4 million.
Come try Guam's original Chamorro restaurant with Pica's Best 5 years running. Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Experience Chef Peter's candied salmon over scallion coconut rice, octopus to naktak, Chamorro platter, and their award-winning gourmet hamburgers. Or if you're looking for something healthy, try their keto-friendly menu. Come and enjoy Mezcla's half-a-day service at their Hagåtña and Grand Plaza Tumon location. Call their Hagåtña location at 479-2652 for reservations.
A cat has 9 lives. Baseball gives us 9 innings and 9 players on the field. Greek mythology introduced us to 9 muses. A stitch in time saves 9. Everyone wants to dress to the nines or have the whole 9 yards. And happiness is found on cloud 9. This election, please vote number 9, Attorney Thomas Fisher for Senator on the Republican ballot.
I'm Thomas Fisher, and I approve this message.
Drake Diaz, Treasurer.
Bringing you closer to the action. Any speaker, anytime. Watch and listen live on ThePOINT.gu.
Who else is playing around? Let me just quick look at the list. Make sure I got everybody here. Living in the Pacific is online. Our bro Dennis Benzer is hanging out as well. He says,
DB?
Yeah, he says like you just got the joke too about the 110-pound rice cooker.
That took me a while.
Oh my God, you guys. Come on.
Good morning.
We're doing this at the speed of science, ladies and gentlemen. Mark and Francis Ishmael is there. Greg, Fausto, Mark and Francis. Like I said, I got Ismael Velez hanging out with us. Donna
Morning,
D.
Chief.
Sarita's grin. I don't get it. Oh, wait, I think I just got it. Okay. Jeff Pleadwell's online. And no doubt there are 110-pound rice cookers over at Pirates Cove as well. Randy Landis, our pickleball buddy, is hanging out. So is Kathy Pinaula Rios. Gary Herr, Gina San Nicholas is hanging out with the program, Renee Lau, and Johnny Utah. Johnny Utah has posted a picture of what looks like his backyard or a fancy restaurant somewhere in Utah. I don't really know. It looked really kind of like someplace I'd want to go and lay out a cooler and just kind of stare and look for what do they call it?
Tumbleweed.
Tumbleweed and
Tumbleweed rolling by.
Prairie dogs. That kind of thing. Dennis Mensman online saying, good morning, Guam.
Yes.
All right, so as we wake up this morning, and the predictions are for a significant amount of butthurt here from among some in the activist community. Supreme Court declines to consider overturning racist insular cases. And normally in a case like this, because I'm not studied in this kind of thing, and some people are saying, Ray, you treat it like it's just a big joke. And yeah, okay, because I'm like that. I don't know that it affects me one way or another. Because I don't care. Even if they did overturn the insular cases, we still wouldn't be able to vote for the president. And Mike San Nicholas and soon Jimmy Moylan would still not be able to vote in Congress, unless something else major changed through there. And it would jeopardize, I think, destabilize some of the benefits that are given to us because of the fact that we are an unincorporated territory of the United States. Normally, I'd call up Bob Klitsky, but he's out of town. Next best thing is my bro, Doug Moylan, with guidance here from Eric the Eagle. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning, Ray.
All right. Your thoughts on this Supreme Court case, having actually been to the Supreme Court in your lifetime as Attorney General on Guam. What do you think of them, number one, not picking up the insular cases or providing any kind of review on this? And number two, where do you suppose they're going to go next?
Well, Ray, the Supreme Court has a lot of different reasons for taking a case or not taking a case. Sometimes they usually like to tag those cases that deal with the structure of government, and this probably would fall within that because it deals with the incorporated and unincorporated territories. At the same time, sometimes they read the lower court opinion and they don't see a reason why it should be changed at this point because, when they take an appeal or assert a request, they see a problem and they want to correct it. And especially if it's between different circuits of the United States. We're in Ninth Circuit. American Samoa, I understand, is in the 11th Circuit. So they try to bring uniformity to legal, the laws within the United States. So in this case, they did not choose to take it. They usually don't explain why they did or did not choose to take a case. So everybody's kind of reading the tea leaves on it. And the purposes for this one, I think they're just giving a bit of deference to the 11th Circuit. They don't see a reason at this time in order to take it. But again, depending upon how cases come up to the Supreme Court, what are the legal issues involved, again, it's like reading the tea leaves, why they and when they want to take cases.
Well, I mean, is it possible that among those tea leaves are significant voices from American Samoa saying, no, we kind of like it the way things are around here, where we've got significantly more control over their islands, their course, and their future than other territories and even other states?
Well, Ray, it's very interesting because the reason why they use the word incorporated and unincorporated, the history has shown that incorporated territories eventually became states like Hawaii and Alaska, right? So the unincorporated territories, they're trying to figure out what their relationship with the United States is going to be. They're not a state. They're not a different country. An example would be the original unincorporated territories by the Treaty of Paris was the Philippines, Guam, and Puerto Rico. And the Philippines, they decided to be their own country again. So they broke away from the United States, and they were ceded over under the Treaty of Paris, the result of a war. For purposes of Guam and Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico right now is a higher status. They're moving towards statehood from all indications. They have their own constitution. But we also have to recognize that the United States has its framework. The Constitution specifically gives Congress the right and the duty to administer all territories, all properties of the United States, and that includes the territories. So that's why we're in this kind of like limbo phase, and you know, within locally to trying to determine how we want to determine our future, and then you know, in a bigger phase, is it constitutional under the framework that we're given? And I always digress to Hawaii. Hawaii was taken by the federal government. They just seized Hawaii. You know, you talk to Hawaiians and they're really pissed off about how the United States just overthrew their queen at the time. And they have, I guess, they went to Congress in order to have special rights like the American Indians. Guam never did that. So we're not following the framework in which other territories have sought some form of independence. And of course, Hawaii was eventually assumed into the United States as a state. But I mean, that's the type of insular cases and issues we're dealing with. The idea of citizenship, though, that falls within the 14th Amendment of the United States. And people get all confused because we're U.S. citizens, but we can't vote on Guam. But that ability to vote is keyed into where we live. So if you move to Hawaii or anywhere else, you could vote for Guam, and everybody kind of understands that. So we're angry at the fact that we're in a limbo state, that we're American citizens, but we don't enjoy all the rights of the American citizens in the ability to vote and do certain other things. I do agree, though, that we have a lot of negotiating power when it comes to federal statutes, like putting us within certain benefit schemes that the U.S. doesn't have. We don't pay federal taxes.
Correct.
We've got this tax-free status. So if you're looking at a negotiating point of view, I think the delegates and our local leaders have a lot of leeway working with Congress, because it's all statutory within the congressional scheme. It's not constitutional. So we're not held, like states are held to the Constitution many times when you're a state of the United States, and it's hard to change the Constitution. But on statutes, you get the right administration in Congress and the White House, and Guam benefits. So, you know, you got to kind of look at the positive sides to it. I know the indigenous rights people, and I am Chamorro also. You know, there is, and as our youth, Ray, there is, you know, that whole idea that we're indigenous, we have a right to self-determination and so forth. But at the same time, we're getting the benefits of being under the American flag. And, you know, you're part Caucasian, I'm part Caucasian. So we have that you know, that dichotomy that Guam is experiencing. I don't think it's just Guam specifically that they want to single us out. I think that the U.S. and the way they set the laws up, we're having problems with understanding everything. An example would be Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know, one of the greatest American, you know, heroes, whatever, actors and so forth, like Ronald Reagan was, but he could never run for president because he was born in Austria, I believe. So, you know, the Constitution was set up a certain way, given what it looked like back in 1776 and so forth. So now we're trying to figure out, you know, where is our place in this world, given the fact that we're, you know, out in the Pacific and so forth.
Well, obviously an interesting conversation, many angles on this, and interesting that you brought up, you know, our genetic background. Yes, I am part Caucasian, as you are a part Caucasian as well. So I'm going to let you go, General Moylan, and bring in somebody that's all brown and see what he's got to say about it.
Sure.
All right, I'll talk to you pretty soon. I'm not going to say his name until you're off the air. Okay, but it's Peter Santos, the writing candidate for the Attorney General's
There's
office.
some racial undertones there.
Well, that's the whole point of the conversation. Is it's the racist insular cases, and so as I said, let me see if I can swing this over to somebody that's more brown than any of us in this room. Alpha Pedro.
Yes, Ray, you know that I've been chiming in about the insular cases and about Neil Weir ever since. You know, aside from all the gobbledygook that Doug just spoke, it's real simple. Congress has plenary authority over the territories, right? And that's why we have the scheme that we have today. It's a political question. It should never have gone to the court. The Supreme Court rejected it for one plain reason. Neil Weir is a dummy. That's it. End of story.
His mom's listening, man. Come on.
I'm sorry, but we've been saying it ever since. This issue has no business being in the courts. It's a political question. Likewise, his arguments are extremely flawed. Point blank.
Okay. All right. All right. So, having said that, though, while his as you say, his arguments are wrong, point blank, though, there is a lot of other support here on Guam for them moving forward with an examination of these racist insular cases. It seems to me that's kind of a has been part of, and you brought it up in a message to me online. This Levin Camacho is backing up Neil Weir on this. Governor Gutierrez wanted another look at the insular cases by the Supreme Court. I mean, there's a lot of people that for whatever reason want to is it rub the United States' faces in it for using the kind of language, or can we just not live with the benefits that we derive from those cases?
Right. That's the old adage: be careful what you ask for, you just might get it.
Yeah.
Right? There are so many negative things that would occur if the insular cases were overturned. And oh, by the way, you already mentioned it. We still wouldn't be able to vote for president if the insular cases were overturned.
Right.
We still wouldn't be able to get all the things that they want us to get. You know, and they have been called on the carpet in congressional hearing after congressional hearing. Does the insular cases have to be overturned for us to get what we're looking for? The answer is no. The insular cases does not need to be overturned. So then the next question is, if we overturn the insular cases, will we receive the benefits that you're looking for? The answer again is no. So it's a big old stinking red herring.
What do you suppose they're going to do next?
It's a way for Neil to exercise his saviorship, his saviorism. It's a way for Neil to build a career. It's a way for Neil to gain or to try to make his legacy. But to me, it's a fool's legacy.
All right, a couple of different views.
He's on a fool's errand.
Gotcha. And so we've got a couple of different views on all of this. No doubt, as the day gets longer and as the day gets as people are waking up to the news that the Supreme Court is basically I think they're going to summarize this as saying the Supreme Court is in favor of the racist language used in the insular cases. I'm expecting
that's false rhetoric.
I'm expecting just waves and waves and waves of butthurt editorials, letters to the editor, and that kind of thing.
I rather keep my benefits that I get now.
Accurate summary. It doesn't surprise me. Even though your views of some of Doug's statements might be gobbledygook, it seems to me that both of you are moving in the same direction. Maybe not in the same lane, but certainly moving in the same direction on all of this. I think it's going to be interesting over the next couple of days to just, as I say, rate the amount of butter that's going to be coming from the individuals. We don't need to name them. You already know who I'm talking about. I imagine. Oh my God! Can you imagine the platform at the legislature today? They're going to be doing that the thing for the hospital. So, but I'm wondering if there's going to be anybody that uses the opportunity for a lot of people viewing it as a platform to decry this move by the Supreme Court.
They're very unrelated issues. Whoever, if anyone brings it up, they'll be like, "What? Excuse me? What? This is an A and B conversation. You need to see yourself out of this conversation."
Yeah, I don't disagree, but you know how they are.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Ray.
No, I appreciate your time here this morning. Closing in on 7 o'clock in the morning, and there it is. I got it from 2/3 of the people that are running for Attorney General's office.
Yeah, we have to pay the retainer, Ray.
What's that?
We have to pay for the retainer. They're expensive. Those 2 attorneys and.
We'll work. I'll work out a deal. I don't know. So we'll get together over at Sidelines for breakfast and have a careful discussion of it. 6:58 and change, as I said, about a minute away from the top of the hour, and not a whole lot of time to pull up a whole lot of others. I can't charge a story and go for it because the news is coming up. But I will tell you that my WhatsApp has been filled with all kinds of stuff, infographics that describe in pretty clear detail the nature of money laundering at the hands of Luli and Guerrero and the government of Guam. Really now? And this is why we're running the public health emergency so long, so we can continue to have scary kind of what did they call it? The bidding, closed bidding process, no open bidding, sole source providers, that kind of thing. Is that all part of it? And does it make any difference in the cause of the election? 6:59. Stand by now. Fox News Live is coming up. On the other side of that, Donna D. And with a look at all the big headlines and stories that we're going to be trying to cover all morning long, Jerry Roberts is coming in. He's got the extra point. We'll take a look at what happened in the markets and plenty more as the program continues. In the meantime, count it down for me now. Fox News Live, playing on KUSG. Again, 93.3. We are The Point.
22 days left on Lisa Brady, Fox News. And as both sides in Washington count down to the midterm elections, high prices are still hammering Americans.
Over the summer, Democrats hailed their passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, but inflation is still spiking. Democrats are struggling to campaign on the law despite its name.
Fox's Chad Pergram on Capitol Hill.
Republicans are sure to remind voters who they believe drove up spending. Republicans and Democrats approved trillions in COVID aid during the pandemic, but Democrats muscled through their own massive coronavirus bill last year along with the IRA over the summer. Those remain top of mind for voters.
The White House says the president's efforts to address inflation are popular and yielding results. In a Fox News poll, 73% of registered voters say the economy is getting worse, and more than two-thirds disapprove of the president's handling of inflation. President Biden says Republicans are against help for millions of middle-class Americans by opposing student debt relief.
Despite what the Republican officials say, we can afford, we're able to afford the student loan relief. It's because of our historic deficit reduction.
The president rolling out the full launch of the website to apply for student debt relief. It's studentaid.gov. Republicans say it's not fair to other taxpayers, including borrowers who've paid their loans. Several states are challenging the relief plan in court. The U.S. condemning Russia for waves of suicide drone strikes in Ukraine's capital, setting buildings on fire, killing at least 4 civilians, believed to be Iranian-made drones.
Iran continues to lie about this. They have not been truthful about this and deny providing weapons to Russia for use in Ukraine.
White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre says there's extensive evidence Russia has used Iranian-made drones on civilian and military targets. Ukraine continues to appeal for more air defense systems. America is listening to Fox News.
Is your business ready for digital transformation? The latest Wi-Fi technology is here, and it's Docomo Pacific's WorkPass, powered by Plume. WorkPass unlocks connectivity, productivity, and security tools all in the palm of your hand. Access features like adaptive Wi-Fi, guest and employee networks, evolving AI security, plus so much more. To learn more about WorkPass, visit business.docomopacific.com. Docomo Pacific Business. Work better together.
Gas is expensive, so let the bank come to you. Through our remote deposit capture, you can deposit your checks into your account from your phone. And with our Dynamite Bank Pacific Visa debit card, you can use your money anytime, anywhere. It's the perfect combo.
Now we're banking on the future. Services to choose. Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender. Member FDIC. Crank it up.
A federal judge tosses out a lawsuit from a death row inmate seeking to block his execution in Alabama.
A judge ruled Kenneth Eugene Smith waited too long to file his lawsuit, but also warned the state's prison commissioner of severe consequences if protocols are not strictly followed for Smith's upcoming execution. Smith argued for a stay based on reported problems with a lethal injection in July. He's scheduled to receive a lethal injection next month for a murder for hire in 1988. Smith missed a 2018 deadline for Alabama inmates to choose death by nitrogen hypoxia as an alternative method. The state has not developed a process for using it. Steve Rappaport, Fox News.
Sam's Club members start paying higher fees today. An annual membership for the Walmart-owned chain now costs $50, a $5 increase, and the first hike in nearly a decade. It's a $10 increase for the Plus membership.
The cost increases come after the Warehouse Club said it invested in technology to improve the shopping experience. Sam's Club has revamped all 600 clubs, added a new rewards program called Sam's Cash, and is featuring new brands. Its CEO said the company does recognize the financial pressure shoppers are currently facing and will give customers who renew their membership a credit equal to the increase for this year only.
Fox's Hillary Barsky. Baseball fans hoping the weather holds up for tonight's decisive Game 5 between the Yankees and Cleveland Guardians in New York, where rain delayed Friday's game, and there's more rain in tonight's forecast.
The series could have ended Sunday night, but the Yankees stayed alive with a 4-2 victory over the Guardians. Whoever wins Game 5 will advance to the American League Championship Series against the Houston Astros. Game 1 of the ALCS, Wednesday.
Fox's Jared Max. The National League Championship Series between the Padres and Phillies begins tomorrow in San Diego. Wall Street bounces back, at least temporarily. The Dow up 551 today, back over 30K. The S&P gained more than 2%. The NASDAQ more than 3%. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Check out the newest hydro and garden center to hit Guam, Crop King Hydro. We have a huge selection of plant nutrients, soils, hydroponic mediums, organic pest control pumps, plant support, tools, and so much more. Call 635-4769. 635-GROW. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6 at the Dededo Satina Mall, right across from Payless and Paradise Fitness. For whatever you grow, think Crop King Hydro. Crop King Hydro.
Guam Regional Medical City was awarded Advanced Primary Stroke Center certification from the Joint Commission. What does this mean? It means our neuroscience team is equipped with the latest technology and a team of the finest neurological doctors to treat stroke, which is one of the leading causes of death on Guam. GRMC, reflecting our commitment to providing safe and quality patient care. For more information about GRMC, visit us at grmc.gu or to make an appointment, call 671-633-GRMC.
Choosing health insurance for my family is difficult. I need to know our health insurance will protect us now and in the future. Take Care members have access to the island's largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs, and a high-quality credentialed network of on- and off-island healthcare providers, including the convenient one-stop FHP Health Center and urgent care. My family choose Take Care. Your family should also consider choosing Take Care. Call 671-647-3526 for more information. Take Care, our island, your health plan.
Half a day. I'm Bishop Mendiola, and I'm running for senator to promote lower cost of living, increase our food security, and ignite new economic sector development. I will put to work my fresh ideas, my experience as a small business owner to create legislation that removes the red tape on our economic growth. I want to pave the way to a prosperous, wealthy, and self-sustainable island community. I'm Bishop Mendiola, number 13 on the Republican ballot, and I approve this message.
Half a day at 7:06. I'm Donna DeJesus. Here's a look at your local news on The Point. 11 GPD retirees have started their in-processing to give it another shot to protect and serve. GPD's incentive program includes a $10,000 bonus for them to work as limited-term officers for at least a year. This is one incentive to increase police presence. Police Chief Stephen Ignacio admits that his officers remain at the bottom of the national pay scale for law enforcement. He adds that the 18% pay adjustment plus the 10% retention pay gives officers a 28% increase. The group of retirees is said to be doing administrative duties at the precincts, allowing more uniformed officers to go out on patrol. And GMH outpatients now have a place to get their feet and ankles checked. The hospital's Special Services Department, or SSD, recently launched a specialty clinic. Dr. Dustin Prinz is the hospital's new foot and ankle specialist and will lead the new outpatient clinic. He is also the medical director of wound care at GMH and is board certified as a wound specialist physician. A release states that patients will be required to have a referral to the GMH foot and ankle specialty clinic. A representative from the SSD, once the referral has been received, will contact the patient to make an appointment and provide additional instructions. Hospital officials say those experiencing feet or ankle issues are encouraged to speak to their primary care physician about a referral. More news after this.
News this hour is brought to you by the friendly and hardworking folks at Hoffaday Realty. Jody, Saran, Libby, Lolita, and their team of professionals. For all your real estate needs, contact Hoffaday Realty, recently nominated as one of PICA's best real estate companies. Call 671-588-4232 or email hoffadayrealty@gmail.com. Located at 426 Chalon San Antonio, Suite 204, Tumaning. Open Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. till 4 p.m.
Guam Unique Merchandise and Art, or GUMA, will be holding its last home-based business workshop for the year on Saturday from 9 to noon at the Tumaning Community Center. The nonprofit's free program helps aspiring residents start or improve a home business. GUMA and the Mayor's Council have provided training sessions at all 19 villages. The program has since grown from 6 people to 50 people in a span of 9 months. The workshop revolved around marketing, creating sustainable business ideas, and networking for resources. Grant funding for the program comes from the Administration for Native Americans under the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the Governor's Office, and GIDA. GUMA officials say The workshops will restart again by region next year. A winter holiday season event is in the works, and details will be announced on GUMA's website, gumaguam.com. And the Guam Labor Department is expanding its services for local employers by providing the American Job Center and its resources to help fill vacancies. Resources include training, video conferencing, and hosting job fairs. Labor Director Dave Della Sola says the department has staff who are experienced in planning and executing job fairs, which can also be held at the company's place of business. Businesses looking to host job fairs or training sessions can avail themselves of the American Job Center. A release states that the agency teamed up with Citadel Pacific, IP&E, and IT&E to host a job fair in which the labor agency provided space, internet access, staff assistance, and other resources. About 40 job seekers attended the event with 22 positions offered. And those are your top stories. Back to Ray with weather.
Details and face-to-face interviews with Dave Del Sola and Janella Carrera later in the program, about 8:40. They'll be here. They'll be here. So if you've got
to talk more about this.
Surprise. And other things. Yeah. Well, there might be some other things going on over at the DOL. I just thought it was a good excuse to bring Janella back into the studio. I'm a boy. Get over it. 7:10 in the morning. What have we got here in terms of weather? It says scattered showers and thunderstorms. Mostly cloudy. Highs near 87 degrees. East-southeast winds 7 to 14 miles an hour. I've got the radar screen. No, I don't have it up there. It now is on the radar screen. You can see where Guam is because it's in the middle. That's the whole point. And you can see a little bit of weather looking like it wants to go over the north end of town up around Anderson Air Force Base. Not doing it yet. We might have some stuff, just some clouds drifting in from the south. That'll be all right. Mostly cloudy this evening with lows around 76 degrees. Light and variable winds. Tomorrow, about the same thing. Mostly cloudy skies and partly cloudy into the evening. Mostly sunny by Thursday. What? Crap, that's jury duty day. Oh, I hate you guys.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, it's going to be mostly sunny on Thursday when I got to be sitting in with my Jury J panel. Hey, Your Honor, can we have jury at the beach this week? Can we do that? So, and instead of butchie and almond cheese sandwiches and stuff, that we can just throw in barbecue and some beer at the beach. Come on, I promise I'll pay attention. I promise. All right, we got the heat index today, 92. Sunset tonight is going to be 6. Hashtag tell the others. 712. My doctor's on the line. We'll get to him right about now. We don't have a lot of time because it's this time of the program, but it's a rare enough event for me to hear from Dr. Vince Akimoto, who's back online now. Good morning, Doc.
Hey, good morning, Ray. Just wanted to wish you guys a happy Tuesday, and best my calendar can tell, the Guam Memorial Hospital is having a oversight hearing.
Yeah.
With Senator Speaker Therese Terlide this afternoon at 2:00. I'm hoping that's still on.
I have not heard. I have not heard otherwise. I've got a feeling that I will be somewhere near the YouTube page for the legislature. Likewise, I know guys like Ken and Dave Lotz and any number of other people are very, very curious about the questions that the legislature will be asking and the kind of bamboozling that will come out of the administration here.
Well, I mean, hopefully it'll be some good news because, I mean, there has been a rash of press releases about some of the new services that the hospital is offering. So I applaud the proactive positivity. That's not a bad way to go. So hopefully this afternoon there will be more positive information about GMH because certainly as we get 3 weeks away from an election, it does seem like information is one of those currencies that are in high demand.
But I thought the oversight was going to be on the new hospital that they want to build out at Route 15 on land that's still questionably held.
Well, yeah, but I think the whole point is that the governor and her leadership team have given up on the current hospital, so they don't want to put any more money into it because they believe it's a waste of money and that the people of Guam don't deserve a new or better hospital this year. They'll wait 10 years or 7 years or, according to the governor, 3 years. I mean, there was a statement I made last week. The governor said that she could build a $1 billion hospital in 3 years. That's an amazing statement that I think the senators need to get more details about because best I can tell, they haven't fixed the swimming pool in the last 4 years. And that thing's not quite as big as a $1 billion healthcare facility, but I guess they're going to figure out how to do that in the middle of a labor shortage, a supply chain shortage, and the fact that the original landowners still want to get paid for that piece of property.
Well, interesting that you say that, because the governor is now floating the land bank reform, and there would be method finally to be able to pay off original landowners in the case where their land becomes up for grabs, but they can't be necessarily returned right back to them. And Therese Terlai over at the legislature, I think correctly wonders why this is happening now 3 weeks away from the general election.
The speaker needs to quit being so surprised by our governor. I mean, our governor is a very sharp person, and even though Therese Terlai has been working on the Chamorro Land Trust practically all her adult life, the governor apparently woke up sometime, on Monday and said, "Hey, I've got a great idea. Let me fix the Chamorro Land Trust original landowner issue."
I got to do a timeline on all of this stuff, because they're talking about it being illegal for the government of Guam to return land back to original landowners, and it's being unfair to everybody. It's just the write up in the newspaper here this morning. But we've got all of Tiedzen, and the Magagaga Road Highway out there that is basically turned into a slum because they gave land back that people couldn't get insurance or loans on. So that'll be interesting. Hey, dude, I'll be watching along with you. Maybe we'll WhatsApp each other on some of the incredible findings.
Excellent.
All right, buddy. Nice. I'll see you soon. The reason, I hate to hurry, it's just that this is not normally a time where we do a whole lot of phone activity. Normally go into what's going on with the markets, and Jerry Roberts coming in soon with the extra point. But this is the only time that we'll be able to get Mark Mendiola from the Ed Board online. Now, while the legislature is going to have an oversight hearing and public hearing on what's happening with the, quote, new hospital in Route 15, the Ed Board is going to be meeting today as well. And among the topics that they're going to be going over is who is Francie Santos keeping the chair warm for, and as superintendent of the Department of Education. Morning, Marcus.
Hey, good morning, Ray. Half a day, Guam. Just we got a full day ahead of us. So,
looked like it. I thought it was a pretty heady agenda, but certainly one of the priority items is to fill the space left by John Fernandez.
Yeah. So we had a board retreat last Saturday, and so we had an opportunity to go over some of the. We're coming towards the end of the year. And one of the top priorities, of course, is the superintendent search. And so our vice chair, Dr. Mary Okada, is still leading that effort. I believe she informed the board at the retreat that there were 8 candidates. I don't know the names of the candidates at this point, other than the ones that have publicly announced it. We are still within our timeline to, search for a new superintendent. Obviously, there's some things that we all have to take into consideration in terms of timing. There's just a lot of things right now before the department, facility-wise.
Oh, yeah. We're hearing about some of those problems, Chief.
Yeah, yep. And then there's also some other issues that's coming up with student behavior, And so it's kind of challenging when, to focus on a lot of these things when there's a lot
Expel them. There's no challenge there. You start a riot in a school, bad enough that they've got to shut the thing down and shelter in place. Guess what? You don't go to school here anymore. Goodbye.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. We just a couple of 18-year-olds thinking that they
don't coddle those guys. Get them out of there. They're getting in the way of the other kids trying to get an education.
Right. I agree, Ray, and that's what we're pushing. For some reform in that regard. But the thing is that. Like you said, we have a full agenda ahead of us. One of the big things, too, Ray, that we're focusing on right now is the third-party issue. Man, I can't wait to just turn the corner on that and get us off of that. And then the other thing, too, that we're looking at is, we developed over that board retreat a superintendent evaluation template that is in line with our strategic plan. So the next person coming in, Ray, is going to have to is going to know what's expected of them. Even with the new board coming in, it ties it in with areas such as student achievement, ties it in with leadership. Ensuring that we don't create a vacuum when people leave and retire. But one of the things that we're faced with right now, Ray, that's a challenge for us is a lot of our long-time employees are being headhunted by these federal contractors. So it's tough.
Gotta find some money and pay them more.
Yeah, and that's a challenge we're faced with. Of course, when a good portion of your budget goes to personnel costs, and there's no revenue coming in that regard. But we'll see what happens here tonight. and I'll be more than happy to report back to you guys once we conclude our board meeting.
We'll fasten you on Wednesday.
Okay, great.
Okay, brother.
Thank you.
All right, I'll see you.
Okay,
See you
bye-bye.
pretty soon. 888-825-5888 TALK is the phone number around these parts, and there it is. Word from Martin and Hill about the sizable amount of work they've got in front of them. I like the idea that they're going to here's the guardrails for the next superintendent. These are the things that you've got to be able to do. Starting with item number 1. Can you walk on water like John Fernandez did? Can you? I mean, the guy. Still 10 years on. 10 years on.
Water into wine.
Look, he was that good. And you can tell, but just the state of the Department of Education now, with all the issues that Mark was talking about, we got facility issues, we got discipline issues. How are we doing teaching the kids? All of those kinds of things. And for the most part, everything looked good while John was here. And the second the guy leaves, all of a sudden the balls aren't being juggled in the air quite as finely as they were before. Yes, and hilarity ensues. It's 20 after 7 o'clock in the morning on the Ray Gibson Show. What have we got here? Quick look at what's happened in the market. Do we have the music? Or you need me to take a break?
Yeah, we didn't.
We didn't break?
Yeah, we need to.
All right. Quick break, and then we'll come back with a quick look at the market. Jerry Roberts in the Extra Point, all ahead right here.
Guam Regional Medical City is the center of excellence for general and minimally invasive surgeries like colonoscopy, dialysis and vascular access, gallbladder, skin and soft tissue, gastrointestinal tract, hernia repair, spleen, select liver and pancreas diseases, upper endoscopy, and more. Schedule your appointment with GRMC today by calling 671-633-GRMC. That's 671-633-4762. For more information, visit us at grmc.gu.
Half a day, Guam. Dr. Bob and the team at Guam Pet Hospital humbly ask for your vote in the annual Pika's Best veterinary category. You can vote every day at guampdn.com. We pride ourselves on honesty, integrity, and client education. Our advanced pet care includes a full in-house digital laboratory, digital x-rays, cancer screening, soft tissue surgery, orthopedic surgery, and an intensive care unit for the emergencies. Please vote Guam Pet Hospital for Pika's Best veterinary, because your pets deserve the best.
Portions of the program brought to you by the guys over at APL, American President Lines, global presence with a local home, and it's breakfast time. Have you got a sweet tooth? Maybe something new to try over at Wendy's. What is it? Wait, hold on. Let me find the copy. It's in here somewhere, and it's going to be talking about sweeter and Frenchier. It's the new Wendy's home-style French toast sticks. Good stuff. Good mornings are made of it. Wendy's new French toast sticks are made with real eggs. Then they dip it inside of a milk custard, and there's the tiniest hint, but you can still catch it, of vanilla. Available in a 4-piece, 6-piece, or 6-piece combo with seasoned potatoes and a refreshing cold brew iced coffee. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-8255.
7 o'clock in the morning. Ray Gibson in studio, having a good time. Off-air chatting with Jerry Roberts about current events and Candace. I can't remember her last name now that you mentioned.
Owens.
Candace Owens, and a documentary that she did to show just how many people in American dollars, how many people are victims of the grifters in the BLM.
90 million. Well, $90 million. Mm-hmm. So she came out.
I'm sure there's money still pouring in.
Oh, I'm sure. She came out with a documentary. Unfortunately, it's behind a paywall. And but they've released portions of it, and of the $90 million, mansions have come out of this, personally purchased for the benefit of the organizers of BLM. And to their families, one of the brothers of, I forget the lady's name.
Not saying you can't have nice things, just saying I thought we were going to be spending that money on the people that really need it, that are having a hard time.
This money was said to be going into the black community, right, for their benefit. Well, it went into the black community, but for the benefit of only a couple of people. The lady, I forget her name, but
they bought stocks too, right?
She's the chief organizer of this. She's got 2 mansions now worth about I guess, $10 or $15 million. And her brother got $1 million contract to provide security for her and somebody else. And so Candace Owens, who is also black, and she's a conservative, they've been having this war back and forth ever since this thing began. And she and these two women, the one from the BLM and Candace Owens, had a war of words continuously. So Owens took it upon herself to begin digging into where the money went. And I don't know how she did it, but she came up with receipts.
Oh.
I guess some of these things, because it's a nonprofit,
should be some kind of accountability.
There has to be some kind of a paper trail. So she got them. And so she's got the documentary on this, and there's snippets of it around the internet. But when they start taking a look at multi-million-dollar mansions being purchased, and then hundreds of thousands of dollars, in some case millions of dollars, given to individuals to provide services, so to speak.
Air quotes, air quotes.
Yeah. And that's where the $90 million went.
I can hardly wait to put that on the list of things to watch. That and the 2,000 Mules.
It's amazing.
It looks interesting as well. 7:25. Jerry Roberts in the studio for the Extra Point, and a little bit of eyebrow raising, I suppose. This one here brought to you by First Hawaiian Bank. Jerry?
Books and songs have been a little slow on the draw there, boy. Books and songs have been written about them. Endless photographs have been taken, and visitors have flocked there by the millions. We've been long fascinated by the 7 wonders of the world. We'll talk about that and have a slightly different take today on the Extra Point.
Take your business to new heights with the United Business Credit Card. Earn 30,000 bonus miles after spending $3,000 within the first 3 months after account opening. Plus, earn 3 times the miles per $1 spent on United tickets through United until April 30th, 2023, and 2 times the miles thereafter. Visit any First Hawaiian Bank branch or go to fhb.com United Business for more information and to apply for your United Business Credit Card today. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes.
Hafaday, this is Severina. Here at APL, our expertise and extensive network can help you grow your business and reach out to more global markets. As a responsible carrier, APL is also committed to a sustainable future, whether it's protecting the environment or investing our efforts in giving back to the community. Our dedicated teams in Guam, Saipan, and on U.S. mainland are here to support you. Call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com.
I recall.
Anybody okay?
Yeah. It's.
Is it the thing?
The thing.
Do it need to be reset?
It's good.
You know what? Because I took the 2 telephone calls before we got into it.
Great.
All right, try it again, Jer.
Yes, sir. I recall a history class in school introduced and discussed the 7 wonders of the world. There was great interest in them, and there was a sense of awe. The original 7, in case you're not familiar: the Great Pyramids of Giza in Cairo, Egypt; the Colossus of Rhodes, that's a gigantic statue of the Greek sun god Helios, which served as a gateway into the port of Rhodes, Greece; the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, which we now find in ruin in modern-day Iraq; the Lighthouse of Alexandria in Egypt; the Mausoleum at Halicarnassus, a special tomb designed for the ruler Mausolus, that's where the name comes from, located in Bodrum, Turkey; the statue of Zeus, the Greek god at thunder, at Olympia; and the Temple of Artemis in the ancient city of Ephesus, located in modern-day Turkey. In 2001, the Swiss-based New 7 Wonders Foundation set out to establish a new list of world wonders. They promoted their program globally, and to date, over 600 million votes have been cast by citizens worldwide using various means of digital technologies. Given the voting, the new wonders are these: the pyramid at Chichen Itza in the Yucatan Peninsula, Mexico; Machu Picchu, a 15th century Inca site in Peru; the Great Wall of China; Petra, an Arabian historical and archaeological city located in Jordan; the Christ the Redeemer statue of Jesus in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil; the Taj Mahal, a white marble mausoleum in Agra, India; and the Colosseum in Rome, where gladiators fought and 50,000 to 80,000 spectators would gather for events. I came across a story of a group of American school children who were asked to list what they thought were the 7 wonders. Some of those we mentioned were included. As well, votes were received for the Grand Canyon and the Panama Canal. While gathering the votes, the teacher noticed that one student had not yet handed in her paper. The teacher asked the girl to read her list out loud. She paused for a moment, and then she gave these wonders: to see, to hear, to touch, to taste, to feel, to laugh, and to love. All this got me thinking about the things we talk about here on the Extra Point and how they could figure into the 7 wonders of the world. Well, I've got 7 more wonders. To be able to support self and family through honest work. To be judged by peers as a valuable member of the workforce and community. To provide a product or service that others find value in and will pay for. To be a member of a team and part of something larger than just me. To be able to improve my skills and be the best that I can be. To be able to help others grow. And to be a good example of a solid work ethic for younger workers and the young people in my life. A job, any job, in my estimation, is truly a bundle of wonders. It's not just a series of duties for whatever we make every hour. That's just square one. We can stick with that if we like, or strive for more. Employment is a passport to fulfilling potential, pursuing possibilities, and seeking prosperity, whatever that means to each of us. I hope you see your place in the working world as a bundle of wonders, or that you soon will. That's the Extra Point. Be responsible and make something good happen today. For 93.3, The Ray Gibson Show and First Hawaiian Bank, I'm Jerry Roberts.
All you need to do is open your eyes to the possibilities. 7:31 in the morning, and about time now for a look at what's happening in news and headlines. This brought to you by Auntie Lolita Camachees with Half a Day Realty. And the cool thing is, when you go and vote for me as best personality and the radio station for best radio station, the next one is best realtor, real estate company. And I want to say that I need you to be voting for Half a Day Realty in all of that. They're doing an outstanding job. Help you out right now at 588-4232. Ray Gibson Show and news here also being brought to you by Rudy Rudolfo and the guys over at Burger King. They are in for Best of Peak, all kinds of different categories: best burger, best fast food, best drive-through, best late night, and plenty more. So give them a vote today at the PDN Best Of. 7:32 now with Donna D with big news and headlines. How about Donna? What happened?
Nicholas Moore's Agana Heights drive-by shooting trial is underway. Prosecutors called more witnesses to the stand, including a drug dealer who was on the phone with Moore the night of the shooting. The victim, who had to be rushed to Naval Hospital after being shot, is expected to testify today. There's no word yet if Moore will testify in his defense. Trial is ongoing before Judge Alberto Tolentino. And 48-year-old Vincent Benavente Velasco is a level 2 sex offender who now stands accused of sexually molesting a teenager known to him. Court documents state that the child was lying face down on a bed when Velasco molested the teen, and he only stopped after the child's mother walked in. Velasco was convicted on similar charges in 2003. The victims in that case were 12 and 15-year-old girls. Meanwhile, Governor Lulian Guerrero is calling on lawmakers to jumpstart the payment process through the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission to start paying back ancestral landowners who can't get their land back. The governor, the AG's office, and several agencies prepared the Land Bank Reform Act of 2022. The bill would clarify the criteria for compensation, allow other funding sources to be used, including Section 30 money, and provide a means for claims to be calculated and paid to the landowners or their descendants. And those are your local headlines. Back to Ray.
Wow, the election must be getting really, really close. We're talking about throwing money out at everybody that's got hands to catch them. 7:33 on the Ray Gibson Show. We'll get into some headlines. No, we already did the headlines. I'm thinking traffic. Am I thinking traffic? I might be doing traffic after these. Hey, stay and let's find out together.
Hafade, I am Carl Gutierrez, and I am the leader and steward of GVB. And I will not stand by helplessly while others spread lies.
Guam Visitors Bureau had a $20 million allocation, but yet expended the whole, they encumbered the whole $20 million. There's zero balance there. And
the ARP?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, ARP, $20 million.
And you're saying it's been encumbered?
Yes, the entire $20 million.
The accusation that GVB has a zero balance is false. GVB has $13.5 million in the bank, ready to support the needs of our visitor industry. The GVB Board of Directors approved the expenditures of $6.5 million in federal American Rescue Plan money to be replenished by Governor Lou Leon Guerrero. This funded air service development, the increase of passenger and cargo traffic, PCR testing for visitors returning to their homelands, and upgrades for Destination Guam, USA.
When there's no tourists coming to Guam, when there's no flights coming into Guam, they spent $20 million
$20 million.
GVB.
Right.
The $6.5 million in ARP dollars has funded the arrival of over 216,000 visitors. That's 90,000 more than the original estimate of 130,000 arrivals. When electioneering politicians play fast and loose with the truth in an attempt to win office with cheap shots, it makes for sensational headlines, but it also misinforms our people and seeks to impugn the good reputation of organizations like GVB. GVB is working in the spirit of stewardship to create new jobs and fresh opportunity for the kind of responsible Guam that others talk about but never seem to deliver. Under my watch, GVB will always be accountable to the people of Guam as we make the visitor industry serve the interests of residents first.
Half a day. I'm Tom Fisher. Here's the harsh reality. A trip to the grocery store for the basics, eggs, bag of rice, butter, can of Spam, milk, costs almost $30, and that's just 5 items. The cost of living continues to grow, but the money doesn't. We need to roll back the business privilege tax to reduce Guam's cost of living, and I will make that happen.
Vote Thomas Fisher for senator. If you want different, vote different.
I'm Tom Fisher, and I approve this message.
Right on, 7:36 in the morning, Ray Gibson Show. You heard former Governor Carl T.C. Gutierrez in that there is a response to the response online that I will get to you in just a little bit. Portions of the program brought to you by the guys over at NissanGuam.com and the World Wide Web. What do you need to know about? Well, this one here in particular, Nissan Generation N Gen 3 is back. They had to put it on hiatus because COVID-19, but they're doing it again November the 12th, I believe is, the 12th of November, 2022. All kinds of very, very cool things going to be happening and taking place with all of that. Top Ramen Car Show, Model Car Trade Shows, Rico Blancaflor, they're going to have an RC Drift exhibit and test drives. Food and drink vendors are going to be there, raffles and giveaways, and so much more. NGen, save the date, 12 November 2022. Yeah, I'm not sure if I can get it up on the screen so I can tell you what's going on. I accidentally, because Real Joe was like, urgent, you got to look at the thing, you got to do WhatsApp, I don't know. And it freaked me out, and I clicked on the X instead of the big open it up. And now,
delete cookies, Ray.
I don't know. You know what's we're gonna end up dropping the stream or something like this. Is Mars in retrograde? Is that what's happening? I don't have the traffic thing up, so we might as well just stop playing the music. I can't see what the hell's going on out there. If there's something that you need to worry about outside of the usual spots where it gets crazy, up at Atacao with the 408 stop and then traffic onto Waiseng Song 1 and 3, then by all means let us know about it. Use the phone thing, 888-8255, and the Real Joe will get that thing taken care of. It's 7:38. I'll be right back.
Tell me about it, stud.
Circle K's Craft Beer and Whiskey Festival is back on Saturday, October 22nd. We rockin' and rollin' at the Dusatani Guam Resort from 2 to 10 p.m. Bring your friends and come dressed in your best grease costume to win up to $500 in cash and prizes. So bust out those leather jackets and 50-style outfits as we party the night away at Circle K's Craft Beer and Whiskey Fest. Don't be a square. Get your tickets now at craftbeerfestguam.com or cruise on by any 76 Circle K location. Now that's cool, baby.
Are you looking for a new place to hang out with your friends? Let's go along the sidelines at Sidelines Bar and Grill. Located at 154 Iriarte Road, Unit 4 and 5 in Tamuning behind Royal Bigs. Sidelines, a hidden gem with nothing but great things to offer. Great atmosphere, great food, top shelf drinks, and a great team. What are we waiting for? Let the fun begin at Sidelines Bar and Grill. Open daily from 3 p.m. to 2 a.m. See you there.
No. Portions of the program brought to you by Guam Regional Medical City. They are your healthcare partners. Hey, we'll call that Beyond the Box time, too, at 20 till Beyond the Box, Micronesia Mall. That's where I like to go to get all of my coolness. I was admiring a friend's Apple Pencil yesterday. I was looking at the thing. I said, this is an Apple II pencil. It's a pencil 2, right? Because I've got the old one. I got the old one, and I can use that. And when I write on my iPad and things like that, I'm actually always surprised at how much it looks like regular handwriting. And apparently they've worked with the technology and it looks even better now. All right, couple of things that, as I said, we're going through here at 740. I got yesterday the ads that we played. In fact, we just played one, Carl T.C. Gutierrez, making reference to claims made by the Camacho ADA team in their video blog, saying, no, that's not true. There is no $20 million that is encumbered and not $20 million that has been spent. Now, this morning or yesterday, they went through and provided this. This was actually, hey, what the? Uh-oh. Oh, I was going to put up a picture of Tony Ada, but in the meantime, it looks like the only thing I can put up there is a picture of a laptop. At any rate, it's Tony Ada with a screenshot from the BBMR that shows a $20 million balance over here, and then at the bottom where it says, actual balance is 0. So it looks, if you read that we have spent $20 million somewhere. Governor Gutierrez said yesterday, no, that's not necessarily the case. We did not do that. It's only $6.5 million. Now, the other part of this is another vlog, video log that I'll play for you as soon as I get my technology straightened out here, is the vlog that talks specifically about how they arrived at that number. It's another piece. I haven't gotten it queued and ready to play, so we'll get around to doing that a little bit later on. In the meantime, Chris Duane is going to be calling in. And the reason why he's going to be doing that is the legislature is going into session this weekend. Friday should be in session. Not entirely sure what exactly it is that they're going to be talking about there. And that's, I suppose, the good news. We'll all be surprised. But today, over at the legislature, is going to be the oversight. Now, we did speak with him about this earlier, I want to say last week when it started bubbling up. Wanted to get his thoughts on where that was going to be going and what he thought was going to be taking place there. And now it's today. So I'm kind of curious as to whether that has changed or whether he's beginning to feel kind of a full court press on this now coming from Adelup. And here's the interesting story on that one. So we haven't really, outside of Adelup, found a whole lot of people that are excited about the idea of putting this hospital, this new medical campus, this facility over at Route 15. A whole lot of infrastructure that needs to get put in there. Most of the doctors, virtually all of the doctors that I've talked to about it have said, yeah, that's a kind of a lousy place for it. We've already made hundreds of millions of dollars worth of investments in clinics and pharmacies and labs and things like that in the Tamuning area. Now, are we going to have to duplicate this if we move up in that direction? How much longer is it going to be able to take for us to get from our homes or our clinics to where the patients are going to be if it's at Route 15? They're basically calling for a do-over on all of this. In the meantime, they're trying to sort out how we're going to get the land that is required to build this new medical campus. Right now, it's in hands of Uncle Sam Military. They're talking about giving it back at some point to the government of Guam. And the government of Guam's position has always been the highest and best use of these lands should be to return it back to the original landowners. Not so much these days. Where they're saying, well, probably not going to be able to do something like that. And that's why they're talking about this land bank reform. Curious that the conversation is taking place just a day before the oversight hearing. And I'm not the only one that, with only 3 weeks left before the general election here. I'm not the only one that was curious about that. The legislative speaker, who is also up for re-election, took issue with the timing of the announcement weeks away from the November 8th general election. Now, 3 weeks before and 2 months before the end of these legislative and gubernatorial terms, we're hearing a grand scheme of how we're going to compensate all landowners whose land is currently held by the military, which seems to let this governor and the next governor, whoever that is, off the hook for advocating for a return of these lands, the speaker added. Because, like I said, normally you'd go, hey, we're going to get that land back, and we're going to give it to the original landowners, and it doesn't look like that's going to be taking place here. 744 seems to be a whole lot of window dressing leading up to this oversight hearing. Is that Senator Chris Duenas?
It is, sir.
I should get him on the line. He's one of my favorite fishing buddies of all time. Good morning, Chris. How you doing?
Alpha Day Ray, Real Joe, and Donna Day Suits. I just want to jump right into it. I completely agree with the speaker. I think that maybe the new bird of Guam will be a red herring, because the bottom line is that this is a parachute in order to kind of change the direction of the conversation that we would hope to have today on the oversight hearing of exactly how the procurement has gone forward to basically go and create workshops and work with a bunch of buddies to put together this Cadillac proposal that really there's not much input on at this point, and to have a company that I'm not sure has been vetted for their background and being able to present this and then leverage that against the legislature to say, here's a $2.5 billion plan, and if you don't fund it, then you don't care about medical care for our people. And I just think that this whole thing is really, I'm just going to say it, Ray. This whole thing encapsulates exactly what we've been dealing with for the last 4 years. We've basically been dealing with a governor that will work any angle and any means and any movement to be able to leverage everything outside of the purview of any other check and balance or organization that has lawmaking power, and then parachute in and drop something on the table and say, I want this funded. And it's just wrong. Let me tell you something right now. I'm really concerned. That meeting yesterday should have had Portehi Latexan in there. They should have had all these other indigenous groups or activists that have been out there advocating for the return of original land. Mm-hmm. They have never asked for a compensation bank. Now, while I disagree on some of the approaches, and while I don't know that would ever even be possible in terms of those properties, the bottom line is the governor now has the speaker's right. She's reversed course on anything that any individual has ever fought for. And not only that, Ray, there are original lands that have been returned and been sold back to the government of Guam and marketed.
All of Teedzin, the former NAS, a significant chunk of that was passed back to the original landowners, who then made deals with the government of Guam, and now either sold the land or collecting rent from the government, land that they owned free and clear.
This is such a convoluted bomb drop. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It just doesn't. It can only mean one thing. Those individuals were brought in there yesterday to be manipulated. That, don't worry about it, I'm going to go down to the legislature and get you paid, because she negotiated some sort of backroom deal a year and a half ago, with probably met with some officers in the military. We never even knew how that came about, Ray. That was not transparent whatsoever. Do you see one document? Then this, I'm going to go back to what I did when we had the oversight for shutting down the emergency. And we brought everybody in, and I said, do you have any paperwork? Show me some paperwork that shows that this is exactly what has to happen under the current conditions we are. Not one shred, not one letter, not one piece of paper was ever provided. Show me a piece of paper right now where there's a MOU or a commitment or an understanding from the military to give back 102 acres of Eagles Field, and maybe we can start having a conversation.
Right.
But right now, this is all pie in the sky. I want my way, and I'm going to kick my foot on the floor and get it regardless.
Well, can the military give it back? I mean, she's making a claim in one of the newspapers about, I'd rather see a hospital there than a missile defense system. And I tell you what, we've got a hospital that maybe we can spend some money on and let that continue to take care of the people of Guam. And we can let the military put a battery up there so that when the Chi-Coms and the North Koreans, the Norks, come after us, we've got a way to defend ourselves.
Look, they went to GPA and the CCU and said that we have to reconsider this couple hundred some odd acres for the partnership on the issue with regard to panels. I mean, the military is completely taking a new look at what's going on. We don't even have to take a look at what's happening in the Indo-Pacific and around our neighbors to know that they may have to totally reconfigure in terms of how they're looking at properties to protect our viability. Never mind a hospital. You won't have a hospital to go to if one of those missiles hits us.
Well, I tell you what, and you can't use it. It can't be dual purpose. You can't go there and say, we're going to have a hospital and a missile defense system right in the same place. Doesn't make sense to be doing it that way. 7:49 in the morning. What time is the conversation start? About 2 o'clock this afternoon?
It starts at 2, and I really, really hope, and I want to say this because I know there's a lot of landowners that do listen. I think Tom is one of your top listeners here, Tenorio Bernardo. And he actually has a comment in the paper today where it says, hold up. You know, let's get the hospital somewhere else. And if this land, when it's time for this land to be returned, we'll do it the way we've been doing it in other properties. But if this is the new normal, and the military, any excess property is now absolutely, I guess, lucky for you folks on Teason and whoever else actually got their property back and was able to turn around and market it. And here's another thing, Ray, real quick. The bottom line is that when these lands are returned, if they're supposed to be recompensed, you don't put the taxpayers on the hook for that. You don't find these funding sources in budgets and things that are supposed to fund schools and a hospital and other things, that possibly safety with this drug epidemic and everything else.
Correct.
You put taxpayers' money to take care of everyday taxpayers' obligations. The bottom line is that if there's any returns of properties that is going to be compensatable or whatever else, that's part of that deal. That should be part and parcel of the value of that property ascertained and money given if it's going to be for compensation through a negotiation process of that property. It has value. It has real value.
Well, that's something, and maybe somebody between now and 2 o'clock will come up with the answer. When did that change? Because in I can't remember when it was, have to be past 2000, when the Naval Air Station was returned to Guam, and we brought this up. I mean, it was all Gov Guam property for a long, long time, and then the legislature decided that the highest and best use of the land was going to be to return it to the original landowners that they could. They weren't, underground underneath the runway or the airport or other facilities, and those people those folks were able to get their lands back. Caveat with the reversionary clause, but they're sitting on the land for better or worse that you get to see up on when your daily drives up on Teason. Why was that okay then, but not now?
Well, and I think the answer to that question can be vetted through our legal counsel. The governor sent a bill down. We're not going to rush to be at her behest. I hope the speaker will fully vet this bill through our legal bureau and even attach what veracity it has and maybe conflict with current law, as you're saying. Mm-hmm. This is something not for 3 weeks before the election. I hope today what we talk about and concentrate and focus on is the issue of what is currently going on with a plan being put together that is obviously not being done in a way that it includes community stakeholders. And obviously in the medical community, there's so much pushback against this. And why this full court press? That is all that should be done today.
No. There's another point.
What you want to do here. But the fact of the matter is, I think you're being used as pawn here.
Senator, let me bring this up as well from a member of the medical community who has heard this argument back and forth over the last couple of decades. Says, ask Chris about returning the old GMH land back to the Perez family. If we're not going to use it, then give it back to the Perez clan.
And that's the point. See, the Perez family has actually come forward and been working in good faith with the government. They are willing to settle with the government and work through a process whereby, that is part and parcel of whatever deal would go forward. That's the way it should be done. It's a business transaction. It's not a transaction that the people of Guam and the taxpayers of Guam should be on the hook for. So I completely agree with that being part of the total package in terms of if that is determined on where we should build a new hospital. Let's worry about a campus down the line. Let's go up to public health in Manila and rebuild it. That thing is built like a bomb shelter.
I don't think you need to rebuild it. I don't. Can somebody call John Benevente and ask
about refurbishing?
Yeah, but that I'm aware of, there's nothing wrong with it. There was no fire. There was a problem with an electrical panel. But you call Kellis over at Kindo Electric, and he can replace the thing in about an hour.
Ray, complexes are a concept. I mentioned this in our last phone call, and they made sense. In states where you're hundreds of miles away from different facilities. On Guam, we are mere 5, 6, 8, 10 miles away from other facilities such as public health. Mental health probably has the nicest building in the inventory. Behavioral health has, got to get this right, has probably the nicest building in the inventory of the government of Guam in terms of serving the population. It's right here next to GMH, which would mean it would be right here just down the road if the new GMH were to be built at Oka. I mean, this whole thing of having to do a $2.5 billion campus in order to build a hospital is just not even an adult conversation.
All right. Well, clearly there are people over at the legislature and thankfully folks that I think run parallel with me that are unconvinced that this is the way to go. I mean, this feels like one of those legacy kind of ego trips, but at the expense of the people of Guam and at the expense of the continuation of the existing Guam Memorial Hospital as a going concern. I think there needs to be some very, very serious conversations and a whole lot more illumination of what it is that Adelup and these groups are talking about that we're going to need to funnel to the legislature in order to keep things moving. 7:55, Chris, I'll be looking for you on TV today.
Absolutely. Dr. Akamoto put it right. I mean, I'm looking at building right now. That's what needs to be taken care of.
It's 7:55 in the Ray Gibson Show. You have a fantastic rest of the day. 888-8255-888-TALK. Can't put the video on, but I should be able to get some audio here let me see. This is Tony Ada. Remember, we got Governor Gutierrez responding to a video blog that Camacho Ada and Mike Sinicolas put together the last week sometime. And the governor has made his response. You can see it in the newspapers as well. He's published it in the newspapers, and now I suppose this is a response to the response. Fingers crossed we'll get audio from Tony Ada.
Oh, the next one will be clearing the record. This past, as a matter of fact, GVB came out with a video on our statement on the allocation made to GVB on the ARP funds. And, they said that, how could we say that there was still like $13.5 million remaining. So where the information came from was straight from Adelup, and that's from the Bureau of Budget and Management Research. So what they report to the legislature, they give a reporting of the ARP funds. And if we can get that on the screen. If you look at line 51 where it says GVB, there you go, Guam Visitors Bureau. The allocation was $20 million. Then it says expenditures, $20 million. And then you keep going to the right, then balance $0. So that's where we got our information from. Now, the GVB president, former Governor Carl Gutierrez, made it clear that there's still $13.5 million. So the question that should be asked is, how is this being accounted for, right? How is the money being accounted for? And if one entity, the BBMR, is showing a zero balance and GVB says we still have $13.5 million, whether it's an account transfer from one account to another, I think what needs to be done is a separate and apart, listing of expenditures to show where that ARP funding went and what it's being used for. So that, questions don't come up like this where, it's showing a zero balance, but, they're still saying there's $13.5 million. So especially that the funding that came in for ARP is at the governor's discretion. So, Governor Leon Guerrero has the discretion of what to do with that ARP funding. But we just want to clear the record and just make sure that everybody knows that what we said and what was presented is directly from BVMR. So if there's any other accounts or things like that it goes from one to the other, then that in itself should be clarified. And I'm glad that the GVB president came out and did that clarification that there is still $13.5 million. So
in the bank.
7:58. That's the response from the Camacho Ada team. The response to all of that here this morning. Let me see here. Reading a BBMR report and wrongly capitalizing on it is the problem, especially when you're running for the highest office on Guam. Maybe in the end, Tony should have verified before speaking as it a fact that it was spent and no return on the investment. They say that the ROI on the $6 million is up around $40 million. Great video, according to a financial person at a, quote, major accounting firm, says great video going viral, blaming Tony Ada for not having a basic understanding of finances. Nowhere in any financial I have seen is there a zero balance. So I think there's a little bit of room for some more back and forth and find out what the real deal is. And so the next guy that I'd like to talk to on this is the guy that puts those reports together for BBMR, and that's Les Carlson. So we'll see if we can get him into the mix in the next little bit. We've got Dave Del Sola and Janela Carrera coming in the next hour. In the 9 o'clock hour, friends from Guam Regional Medical City, our healthcare partners, get to introduce ourselves to a nice lady. I'm told her name is Dr. Melinda Sangalang, and she's going to tell me all about why I have ugly toenails and dry skin in my feet. More as the Ray Gibson Show continues. In the meantime, stand by. Fox News Live playing KUSG again, 93.3. We are The Point.
Making it official. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Millions of Americans can now start applying for student loan debt relief through a federal portal.
The federal application for student loan borrowers has launched, making tens of millions of Americans eligible for as much as $20,000 in debt forgiveness.
This is a game changer for millions of Americans.
The website, studentaid.gov, launched a beta version last week, allowing 8 million Americans to apply over the weekend, the president said.
As millions of people fill out the application, we're going to make sure the system continues to work as smoothly as possible.
The student loan forgiveness program is facing several lawsuits challenging its constitutionality, which could threaten implementation. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The White House says the president set to do another round of campaigning in these last 3 weeks before the midterm election. The president set to travel to Pennsylvania this week and will also head to Florida, where Democrats are looking to flip a Senate seat and the governorship. Last week, the president campaigned with Democrats in Colorado, California, and Oregon. In Georgia, early voting is underway.
Under a new law that shortens the time to request mail-in ballots, also rolling back drop boxes and making it a misdemeanor to hand out food or drinks to any voter in what Republicans behind the law called illegal campaigning or vote buying. The law also limits voters' ability to cast a provisional ballot if they go to the wrong precinct. Previously in Georgia, a form of ID was required for voting in person, but not for voting by absentee.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. The new law requires those requesting and returning ballots by mail to also submit a driver's license or state ID number. Wall Street stocks rally in the latest about face for a volatile market. The Dow added 550. The Nasdaq gained 354. America is listening to Fox News.
Half a day. I'm Bishop Mendiola, and I'm running for senator to promote lower cost of living, increase our food security, and ignite new economic sector development. I will put to work my fresh ideas, my experience as a small business owner to create legislation that removes the red tape on our economic growth. I want to pave the way to a prosperous, wealthy, and self-sustainable island community. I'm Bishop Mendiola, number 13 on the Republican ballot, and I approve this message.
Everyone has a busy schedule these days, and sometimes we forget to schedule our routine dental checkup and cleaning. Don't neglect your dental health. Schedule one today with Dr. Robert Yang and his Smile Team, conveniently located at the East West Business Center on Marine Drive, Upper Tumon. Call us today at 647-8702 or 3. Again, that's 647-8702 or 647-8703. We make smiles happen.
The British government putting the brakes on some new economic legislation.
Britain's new Chancellor of the Exchequer has done an about-face by reversing most of an economics package announced by the government just weeks ago.
We will reverse almost all the tax measures announced in the growth plan 3 weeks ago that have not started parliamentary legislation.
Jeremy Hunt making that announcement Monday, adding that public spending cuts are on the way. It's all part of an effort to soothe the financial markets that are growing fearful of excessive government borrowing. Hunt also says a cap on energy prices is being scaled back in order to help British households pay their bills. Karen McHugh, Fox News.
Treasury Department says it sanctioned a group of high-ranking members of the Somalia-based al-Shabaab terrorist organization. The State Department has also designated 5 al-Shabaab members for diplomatic penalties. Most people will be paying a lot more to heat their homes this winter, according to a new report.
A new analysis from the Consumer Energy Alliance warns Americans are on track to spend at least $14.1 billion more on energy bills this year. About half of Americans use natural gas for heat. It's up 28% year over year. Natural gas production is almost back to pre-COVID levels, but if investment had continued at a faster pace, we'd be producing more. The next most popular heating source is electricity. Year over year, up 10%. Right now, electricity is generated from natural gas, nuclear, and coal. So it follows that we could be doing more to generate electricity. Heating oil and propane, those are also seeing 27% and 5% hikes, respectively. Jackie DeAngelis, Fox News.
New York's Metropolitan Opera, New York Philharmonic, and Carnegie Hall have all dropped their mask mandate for audience members starting October 24th. Decisions make wearing of masks optional and put them in line with Broadway theaters, which ended their mask mandate in July. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
What drives you? The Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration is recruiting bus drivers. You don't need any experience to apply, just a driver's license, be at least 18 years old, have a high school diploma, pass a drug test, and have a clean traffic record. We will cover the cost of training, and the best part, it is a paid internship, so you can earn money while you learn and get certified. At the end of training, you'll have a job waiting for you with the Guam Regional Transit Authority or the Department of Public Works. This is part of our administration's larger effort to strengthen our workforce through training programs at the Department of Labor and Guam Community College, where we've already helped hundreds of people get into meaningful careers. For more information, visit the American Job Center at the GCIC building in Hagåtña, 3rd floor, or call 671-475-7000.
Application period is from October 3rd to October 21st. This ad is supported by employment and training funds from the U.S. Department of Labor as part of an award totaling $4.4 million.
A cat has 9 lives. Baseball gives us 9 innings and 9 players on the field. Greek mythology introduced us to 9 muses. A stitch in time saves 9. Everyone wants to dress to the nines or have the whole 9 yards. And happiness is found on cloud 9. This election, please vote number 9, Attorney Thomas Fisher for Senator on the Republican ballot.
I'm Thomas Fisher, and I approve this message.
Drake Diaz, Treasurer.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they will continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $4,100 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 671-475-4545, Upper Tumon 671-647-5626, or in Dededo 671-633-4473.
Your local news is brought to you by Nambo Insurance. Skip the line, pay online. It's fast, easy, and secure. Visit nambo.com for more information.
Half a day, it's 8:07. I'm Donna DeJesus with a look at local news on The Point. Congressional hopefuls faced off last week during breakfast with the candidates with the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce. Former Speaker Judy Wonpat and Senator Jim Moylan weighed in on the island's political status and how they would advance Guam's efforts toward self-determination. Guam is one of the few unincorporated territories in the world, and the two congressional candidates shared similar thoughts on the importance of voting for self-determination, but Moylan and Wonpat differ on who should participate in a non-binding plebiscite. Moylan referred to federal case law that struck down a local law that restricts the vote to native inhabitants and says Guam is a melting pot and all citizens should vote. Moylan cited democratic principles and Guam's diverse community as reasons not to restrict voting eligibility. Wonpat stressed her belief that voting is an indigenous right. She says Guam is a colony and the Chamorro people who were colonized are the ones who should be able to vote to decolonize. There are 3 status options slated to be considered in a future plebiscite: statehood, independence, and free association. And the Supreme Court has declined to consider overturning the Insular cases, a group of American Samoans challenging the current law, which considers AmSam people U.S. nationals at birth, not citizens, say it is a remnant of racist policies toward territories. The Supreme Court's decision not to hear the case means the lower court ruling remains in place. U.S. nationals can live and work anywhere in the U.S. and can travel under a U.S. passport, although the challengers' lawyers note that their passports include a statement saying not a U.S. citizen, which they say carries a stigma. U.S. nationals can apply for full U.S. citizenship. AmSam is the only territory to which Congress has not extended birthright citizenship. More news after this.
Go green, go hybrid. Go to Nanbo Insurance, and your next power bill is on us. Insure your hybrid car at Nanbo and get up to $350 towards your next power bill. That's instant savings for keeping our island clean and green. Nanbo has been providing Guam with over 50 years of reliable and affordable auto insurance. At Nanbo, it pays to go green. Terms and conditions apply. Visit nanbo.com or call 477-9754 for details.
The UOG Marine Lab spoke at an international conference on its attempt to revitalize the island's reefs through ocean nursery culture and coral planting. A release states that the Marine Lab has been planting cultured corals on reef flats in Pidi and the Cocos Island Lagoon while developing coral restoration practices. The lab's effort throughout the years have been critical in understanding the resilience of Guam's reefs and restoring species harmed by coral bleaching. Higher water temperatures mixed with sunlight caused heat stress on corals, causing bleaching, which can result in the death of corals. Marine Lab Director Laurie Raimundo says earlier studies revealed that numerous bleaching events between 2013 and 2017 damaged more than 1/3 of Guam's coral reefs. The state of Guam's reefs also affects the tourist industry, which is one of the island's key sources of revenue and employment. The Marine Lab is making progress with its overall efforts to offer Guam reefs a chance at survival. And parents with students in public schools will be getting updates on their children's progress during the first GDOE parent-teacher conferences starting this Friday. No classes will be held for public schools on scheduled conference dates. This Friday, the 21st for elementary schools and Head Start, Monday the 24th for middle schools, and Wednesday the 26th for high schools except JP Torres Success Academy. Schools and teachers already have begun contacting parents and guardians for guidance in scheduling conference sessions. A release states that the conferences provide an opportunity for parents to discuss each child's progress and ways to meet each child's unique educational needs, and parents are encouraged to take advantage of the opportunity. And those are your top stories. Now back to Ray with weather.
Oh, do I got to do that now? Do I got to do it again? All right. I've got the weather screen up here. I got the radar screen up here in the studio. I can't put it up on the screen for you because, I don't know, Tuesday? I blame Real Joe.
I'll take the
You
rap.
got me all, excited about it. I got to click here. I spazzed on something. And, all right, now I can't put it up on the screen. I can get audio, but there's no audio on the radar. I can describe the thing to you. Guam is in the center of the radar range, and we've got some weather to the southeast of us, but it's not heading northwest. It seems to be kind of drifting a little bit west, which means that I suppose for the next couple hours we might not get these scattered showers and thunderstorms that they are predicting today. Mostly cloudy skies, highs near 87 degrees for tonight. Mostly cloudy again, and overnight lows should be 76 degrees. With a heat index, it'll feel like 92 this afternoon. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Mostly cloudy tomorrow and during the day and night. And Thursday, it says mostly sunny, highs near 88 degrees. And this is throwing me into a fit of depression and FOMO, fear of missing out, because I got to be at jury duty. I would love to be able to leave here early on Thursday and be able to, and just have everything in the car. I have the cooler with the beer and my swimsuit and all of it, and whatever, my chair. And I'd have all of that ready to go. So I wouldn't even need to go home. I could just go, bam, the beach. It's right there, down the street, John F. Kennedy.
There you go.
Down the street. and I roll myself literally onto the beach, but it doesn't look like that's going to be happening for me. I'll find out Wednesday night. And if by some miracle I don't have jury duty on Thursday, it's beach, baby. It's absolutely beach, baby. 8:12 in the morning. There it is, news and weather together. This is The Point.
Half a day. I'm Jesse Anderson Lujan. Throughout this campaign, I've been presenting my plans to reduce inflation, rebuild our tourism industry, and fight the crystal meth and crime problems plaguing our island. Our government can do more to lift the burdens facing our families. If elected, I will be ready on day one to get to work to help make Guam safe again and urgently rebuild our economy. I humbly ask you, please vote Jesse Anderson Lujan, number 7, Republican. I'm Jesse Anderson Lujan, and I approve this message.
Gas is expensive, so let the bank come to you. Through our remote deposit capture, you can deposit your checks into your account from your phone. And with our Dynamite Bank Pacific Visa debit card, you can use your money anytime, anywhere. It's the perfect combo.
Now we're banking on the future services to choose. Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender. Member FDIC. Crank it up.
Right on. 814 Ray Gibson Show. Portions brought to you by APL American President Lines, a global presence with a local home.
News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now. 888-8255.
A lot of conversation today about hospital because there's going to be an oversight hearing over at the legislature. It's a big fishing deal. We're going to go and throw the rod and reel out and then see what happens. We're going to talk about land. We're going to talk about the existing facility. We're going to be talking about land but here's a question I suppose we're going to have to answer at some point is okay. Let's just say, for instance, all of the alarms finally ring simultaneously, and everybody is thrilled with the idea of a new facility, and we've got the funding, and we've got land that doesn't put anybody's knickers in a knot, and we said, okay, here it is. You're going to build this campus. We'll have facilities here for veterans. We'll have facilities over here to deal with behavioral wellness, however you want to define that. And obviously, we'll have doctors and nurses to be able to provide all kinds of different specialties and procedures and therapies to all of the different patients that we've got lined up to work in our brand new fancy, ooh, it's so shiny. Can we make it some chrome and glass? So I'm just stainless steel, maybe something like that. And throw in some additional money for maintenance over the years. It's a lot of Windex, right? Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. But anyway, so here's the who's going to work there? How many beds are we talking about? And how much backup are we going to need here? How many doctors of a variety of specialties do we have that we can choose from today? How many do we have? Are we sufficiently populated with doctors that are going to get credentialed to work in this new hospital? Do we have enough nurses in the facilities? I think the answer on that one was, well, I think we spent a hell of a lot on traveling nurses during the COVID thing, and even before that, when we started talking about what's the JCO accreditation and things like that. That's kind of expensive to get to. And among the things they look for is, do you have an adequate number of the medical personnel? And I'm not saying that, this is any kind of slight on anybody. It's just a reality. We're not the only ones that face medical personnel shortages on Guam. In Hawaii, there's a group called the Grassroots Institutes. And they did a forum on the doctor shortage there in Hawaii. I'll give you more details on that, but I think that needs to be among the concerns. So as you are lining up your testimony, or maybe you know somebody over at the legislature that can ask the questions on our behalf, ask them what their plan is going to be to help recruit and retain more practitioners here on Guam than any place else, because that's a problem. Remember how long it took us to find somebody to do the medical examiner job. And I'm not counting my chickens before they hatch. I don't think the guy's here yet. I think I'm gonna wait until he's actually here with the dogs. Because once the dogs come first, when the dogs come, anybody knows a thing or two about animal transportation. Once they're here, he's stuck. He can't leave. Because it will cost a bloody fortune to get those animals off island from any route you want to choose. 8:17 in the morning on the Ray Gibson Show. Is that Les Carlson on line
one, sir?
My friend, Migo.
Hey, Alpha Day, Ray. Alpha Day, Joe.
Man, it's always nice hearing from you, and I can always count on you to give me the straight skinny.
straight skinny. I'm even wearing skinny jeans today. How about that?
Hey, me and you and J.I. Cruz, our skinny jeans are on today. And all the women go, ew, go back home. Okay, so...
Actually, my wife tells me to wear the skinny jeans, not the baggy ones.
Oh, see, you got lucky. I always thought you were hitting above your class here with Amaretta, but you know what? You guys have been together for so long, and she knows you like she knows her own smell. That's neat. 8:18 in the morning. Les Carlson from BBMR on the line, and he might be the guy that can straighten things out for me. Apparently, there was a video blog with Felix Camacho and Tony Ada and Mike Sinicolas, and a point that they made in that is, according to your BBMR report for September, the Guam Visitors Bureau was allocated $20 million, and that money has all been spent. So they're making a big deal of, oh, my God, the GVB spent $20 million, and what do we got to show for all of that stuff? Carl Gutierrez from GVB, and he's backed up with numbers by Jerry Paris, says, now, it ain't $20 million. We asked for and received $6.5 million. They believe the ROI on that is about $41 million. That neither here nor there, but those are the words that they said. It was the money came from the governor's office, and the expenditure was approved by the board. So it's not like Jerry and Carl are out there just throwing money here and there. It's all got to get board approved. And at the time, the board was meeting, and they did in fact take care of all of those expenditures. Are you with me so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so they bought 2.5-minute commercials here. There's double truck ads in a newspaper talking about how we did this right. It's not $20 million like the Camacho Ada guy said it is. Camacho Ada comes back with another response to that, and again showing on the BBMR report where it says that the allocation was $20 million and the expenditure was $20 million, leaving them a zero balance. So you're the author of that report. Are we reading it correctly at the Camacho Ada camp?
Are you in the Camacho Ada camp?
No, I'm just saying, if I was in the Camacho Ada camp, I would want to know if we are reading that correctly, and is it correct to apply the phrase they spent $20 million when tourists weren't coming to Guam?
Okay, so the report does state that, and it's predicated on a couple of things. Number one, there was a request that was made for various tourism-related activities to be funded from the ARP by GVB for $20 million. They do their own books. They do their own accounting. As you mentioned, they have their own board.
Yep.
So the governor authorized that amount, and because they're autonomous, and if you take a look at the same report underneath GVB, who shows up on line 51, you'll go down, you see the airport authority and the port authority. We gave those autonomous agencies what the governor authorized up front for them to have access to, so that they could effectuate their plans. Do I call that expended? Yes, I call it expended on my part, because the transfer was made from the ARP account to, in this case here, GVB. That we actually have dates showing that a check was cut to them for the amount of $20 million in January of 2022. I also would like people to take the extra step and take a look at GVB's website, where they have their latest financial statement. And if you look at their revenue for the period of October 1st, 2021 to August 31st, 2022, they show in the miscellaneous revenue category non-operating revenue of $20 million.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I kind of think I know where that $20 million came from.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So then you've got on the top line, Gov Guam allotments, which means their budget, right? So they actually also indicate that they have a miscellaneous operating revenue amount of $512,000. So cumulatively for the period, They have $20.5 million.
Okay, I'm following.
Which when put together with all their other revenue sources, comes out to $34.1 million in revenue. Their expenditures to date, up to August 31st, is $17.6 million, leaving a balance of $16 million. So I think that the point can be made on the point that the expenditures don't exceed the amount that was received. Even if you were just to say the 20 million, they only expended 17. So I believe that what the board approved and what actually took place seems to dovetail nicely with what it is I'm looking at. The money, remember, is ARP money. We have up until December of 2024 to obligate it, and 2 years from that point, 2026, to actually expend it.
So for clarity, though, Les, the point that Tony Adda is making from the standpoint of BBMR, there was $20 million that was allocated to the GVB, and that has been expended. Again, this is BBMR talking.
Yeah.
So the balance.
In that respect, he's correct. I don't have that $20 million anymore.
And so the balance of ARP money to GVB is zero, but the BBMR is not GVB.
Right. So I think you need to do what I just did. So what happened? Did BBMR give GVB $20 million? Yes. How has GVB spent that money? And that's, I think, where GVB is coming from. They're saying that they haven't expended all of it, and they've given an accounting of what the board approved as far as expenditures from that money. So I asked you to look down to see. I did the same thing with the airport, and I did the same thing with the port. I also did the same thing with GPA early on when there was $15 million allocated from ARP to mitigate a rate increase back in 2021, I believe it was. So
there's $15 million there, and I forget what the new number is now. I just got my power bill, and there's a deduction of $100 in there. Thank you for the federal funds. All right, so I see where things are going. I imagine the next question, maybe from the Camacho Ada team, is, well, we know that we can account for $6.5 million that went for a variety of ARP-related GVB activities. What about the other $11 million in expenditures? I suppose that will be in video blog number 3, right?
I think they just need to maybe sit down. I mean, I know it's campaign season, right? And I understand both sides, have a point that they want to make. And this argument here isn't, it doesn't involve the governor. It involves the former governor, right? All I'm saying, Ray, is look, yes, the point could be made that BBMR transferred and DOA cut a check to GVB in January of 22 for the entire $20 million. GVB is accountable for spending that money in tourism recovery-related endeavors. That's all I'm saying.
Gotcha.
So the next question needs to go to them, and they seem to have answered the question. But is the assertion that GVB spent it all accurate? I believe that that's probably something that's very, very debatable. Has BBMR, in this report shown, that it's gone? Yes.
Yes. So if all you look at is what BBMR has got, then, yeah, it makes it look like there's $20 million that's been blown, but that money hasn't been blown. It's in the bank account for GVB. 17 of it, 0.6 of it, you say, has been spent from a balance of $34 million that was already there. So there's a $16 million still sitting in the bank account. Some of that ARP money, some of that their general revenue that they can still use for Visitor Bureau-related functions.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. So last question before I let you go, because, it's Tuesday and I'm hearing things. How much money are you guys going to give Mel Mendiola for the extension of the LEAP program?
I haven't been asked to do that yet.
No. Okay.
No. I mean, we remember the leak.
I know it's getting bounced around. I know the concept is getting bounced around.
Yeah, that was probably the best example of a working relationship with the legislature, because the governor and the legislature each agreed to put up $25 million. Mel had an overwhelming response from local businesses, so the governor actually upped her contribution to over $30 million. I haven't been asked to work in transferring more money into another LEAP program.
Okay, but the concept is being discussed. You just haven't been asked.
I haven't even been party to discussion on the concept.
Gotcha.
I'm always the last one to know.
As it should be, I suppose. Listen, I appreciate the explanation, and keep swinging, guys. It's going to make a fun more couple of days between here and the general election. I'll talk to you pretty soon.
All right. Take care.
I appreciate your time. Les Carlson, which I think has taken out, as the man says in the movie, laid out that bag of snakes all straight, where everybody can see and understand what is going on. Bottom of the hour, got headlines coming up before you know it. Ken LG, the Ken Vict, is on the line. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning. I enjoyed listening to your conversation with Vince.
Lester.
And I want everybody to know that I'm going to be over there testifying. I've gotten a lot of information from Gita, some from Guam Memorial Hospital, some from the governor's office. And so there's a big difference in the narrative that's being put forward by the governor's office and the one that's being put forward by the Army Corps and by Gita and Guam Memorial Hospital. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be bringing all these stories together in one to show why why taxpayers have reason to be very, very afraid. And you hit one also. Remember, the 90% of the questions that were asked during the Guam Medical Association debate was how are we going to keep and retain doctors.
Right.
And so if that building in and of itself is not going to do anything to improve the quality of health care, it's going to be recruiting doctors and getting doctors to relocate to Guam. And we have a long way to go before we get to that part right there. And that's something that should be done before we start building a hospital. That way we can get their input on what they need to be able to move here. Because the reason we don't have a hard time recruiting doctors is we have a very small population, and 75% of the people on our island are underinsured or they don't have any insurance. So it makes it very difficult for doctors to establish themselves and build a practice. It's a big difference.
I hear you. I got a couple of minutes before we got to move on here. This is from, and you can find a video at Grassroots Institute in Hawaii. They say they are in big trouble when it comes to healthcare capacity, according to 3 panelists who participated in forums on Maui, Oahu, and Hawaii about Hawaii's statewide doctor shortage. Quote, we have no endocrinologists. This is just Kauai they're talking about, just Kauai. They say we have no endocrinologist, we have no outpatient neurologist, we have no oncologist, we don't have a psychiatrist on the island. There are no geriatrics, no palliative care. The ophthalmologist won't see Quest patients. I had a patient with senile macular degeneration and diabetes. I tried to get him into the ophthalmologist and told him send this person to Costco. Amazing. Other statements. Hawaii Island is short roughly 300 physicians. Statewide, that number is estimated to be well over 1,000. If you can't get doctors to live on the Garden Isle in the state of Hawaii, how are we going to be successful in recruiting and retaining?
That's a real problem. My goddaughter is a doctor, and by the time she graduated from her residency, she had offers from all over the United States that Guam would never be able to match in our wildest dreams.
Yeah.
And my niece is in her third year of residency right now in medical school, and already she's getting offers. What can we offer here? We can offer a very high cost of living with substandard housing, roads that are beat to shit, and a hospital that's falling apart.
All right. I'm sorry, a little windy in the conversation. I can't really hear you, so I'm going to let you go. Ken, I appreciate it. I'll be looking for you on the video this afternoon over at the Guam Memorial Hospital's oversight at the legislature about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. 8:33. A little bit distracted. I just got a email here from the Speaker of the Legislature. You can access this, and it will go to a Google Drive to view testimony and documents relative to the public hearing today. It doesn't exactly say what they are, but I think maybe I'll go to this Google Drive and see what I can download. So I thought I was going to have a busy enough day today already because I got a haircut lined up for the day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So short nap.
Wait, man.
I know. You know, I'm thinking maybe I just go, it's Ashley Haircut from Rosie Rouge.
Yes.
And what I'm thinking is I'm just going to go to her. I'm going to sit down in the chair and say, you know what? Just go crazy. Just go crazy.
Do your thing, girl.
What? Yes. Yeah, girlfriend. I'm going to call her. I'm going to call her girlfriend. Just go crazy. Do a thing. Maybe. You know what? I'm here because a lot of girls are doing this now. Is they'll get streaks.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm thinking maybe just some highlights. Right.
Yeah. Maybe frosted tips.
You know what?
It's up to you.
I want to have the same haircut the Micronesians. I mean, not the same dye that the Micronesians use. Can I use that?
Yes, you
can buy that one at the store.
Sun in.
There's a family joke about that I can't repeat on the air. 8:34 on the Ray Gibson Show. 10:15 for those of you that aren't getting a haircut today. Be over at Sidelines Broncos and Chargers. There's going to be a buffet. I want to say it's $15. Get you in there. And near as I can tell from yesterday's results of having the buffet and game day over at Sidelines, there's a whole hell of a lot of managers that never made it back to the office yesterday. Not that I'm one of them. I'm just saying. 8:35. Donna D has got her last big look at news and headlines next.
Stop by Olive Garden for their never-ending pasta bowls. Available for lunch and dinner. Choose a pasta, choose a sauce for $19.99. Add a never-ending topping for $7.99. You can mix and match your refills at no extra charge. Refill again and again. Your entree comes with never-ending soup or salad and never-ending breadsticks. Promotion is from October to November 20th. Olive Garden open every day from 11 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. for lunch and 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. for dinner. Please call 671-989-0008. Portions are not available for takeout.
Hafade, I am Carl Gutierrez, and I am the leader and steward of GVB. And I will not stand by helplessly while others spread lies.
Guam Visitors Bureau had a $20 million allocation, but yet expended the whole, they encumbered the whole $20 million. There's zero balance there. And
the ARP?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, ARP, $20 million.
And you're saying it's been encumbered?
Yes, the entire $20 million.
The accusation that GVB has a zero balance is false. GVB has $13.5 million in the bank, ready to support the needs of our visitor industry. The GVB Board of Directors approved the expenditures of $6.5 million in federal American Rescue Plan money to be replenished by Governor Lou Leon Guerrero. This funded air service development, the increase of passenger and cargo traffic, PCR testing for visitors returning to their homelands, and upgrades for Destination Guam, USA.
When there's no tourists coming to Guam, when there's no flights coming into Guam, they spent $20 million in GVB.
Right.
The $6.5 million in ARP dollars has funded the arrival of over 216,000 visitors. That's 90,000 more than the original estimate of 130,000 arrivals. When electioneering politicians play fast and loose with the truth in an attempt to win office with cheap shots, it makes for sensational headlines, but it also misinforms our people and seeks to impugn the good reputation of organizations like GVB. GVB is working in the spirit of stewardship to create new jobs and fresh opportunity for the kind of responsible Guam that others talk about but never seem to deliver. Under my watch, GVB will always be accountable to the people of Guam as we make the visitor industry serve the interests of residents first.
picking any sides here. I'm just an advocate for the truth. If you're right in that the paperwork said there was 20 and then there was 0, but it doesn't mean that all of the dough has been spent. Thank you very much, Les Carlson, for getting that clear. And I hope everybody's head. I wonder what the next round, what the next volleys of back and forth are going to look like. And all I can say is, it's about damn time. I've been waiting for this to turn into roller derby and the demolition derby and loser leave town wrestling, and it looks like we might have finally gotten there. Thank God. All right, because otherwise this
You got to let your bird bite my bird's neck first,
man,
right?
Right?
Yeah, you got to peck the neck.
8:38. It's time for our last big look at news and headlines with Donna D. Going to let us know what the last big deal is about. How about Donna? What happened?
MTM residents reported sightings of possible Chinese nationals on Monday afternoon. Even though authorities suspect 3 men of illegally entering Guam a month ago, Customs Director Ike Pareto says no arrests were made because the individuals were seen far from Guam's border. Police Chief Stephen Ignacio says police cannot stop them just because they're Chinese. Ignacio explains that despite the recent unlawful arrivals by boat, they have only arrested the operators. The public is encouraged to report suspicious activity to Customs at 642-8071 or GPD at 475-8615. And 11 GPD retirees have started their in-processing to give it another shot to protect and serve. GPD's incentive program includes a $10,000 bonus for them to work as limited-term officers for at least a year. The group of retirees is said to be doing administrative duties at the precincts, allowing more uniformed officers to go out on patrol. And the Tumon Bay Youth Orchestra is back in session, and musicians interested in playing with the group can still join. Auditions are open for youth who are interested in playing with TBYO. Contact conductor Max Ronquillo by emailing tbyo@guamphilharmonic.org. The audition process is to assess the current playing level and to plan the year's repertoire. The orchestra's first concert is intended to be on November 21 to recognize music educators on Guam. Visit guamphilharmonic.org for details. And that was your last look at local headlines on The Point.
What, like other details, like what's the theme going to be? Are we doing Aladdin? I want to do Aladdin. A whole new world.
But it's just the orchestra. It's not like...
There's not a singer?
Usually not.
Can we?
You can if you want.
You can.
No.
Come on, you're a singer.
I'm not that
Donna
type of
D.
singer. I do something called controlled shouting. I like hair metal and belting. I can't sound like a Disney princess.
Okay, gotcha. 20 away from 9 o'clock in the morning. Ray Gibson Show until it's not going to be anymore. Disney princesses coming in. We've got Janela Carrera going to be in the studio with Dave Del Sola. Frankly, I only invited her.
Yeah. Come on, man.
But she brought...
Good to see Dave, too.
She brought Ate Dave. So we'll have to put up with that here in a couple of minutes. 20 minutes away from the top of the hour. I'll be right back. Check out the newest hydro and garden center to hit Guam, Crop King Hydro. We have a huge selection of plant nutrients, soils, hydroponic mediums, organic pest control pumps, plant support, tools, and so much more. Call 635-4769. 635-GROW. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6 at the Dededo Satina Mall, right across from Payless and Paradise Fitness. For whatever you grow, think Crop King Hydro. Crop King Hydro.
Subway's Eat Fresh, Refresh chicken choices have so much. How are we going to fit them all in one commercial?
Subway's new Baja Chicken and Bacon is loaded with hand-pulled rotisserie-style chicken, hickory smoked bacon, sprinkled with spicy buttery pepper jack cheese, and drizzled with Subway's Baja Chipotle sauce. Man, this is making me hangry.
And get this, Subway's Chicken Bacon Ranch is stuffed with melted Monterey cheddar cheese, tender all-white meat chicken on your choice of fresh hand-sliced veggies and freshly baked bread. You pick the tagline.
At Subway, you gotta refresh to be fresh.
Half a day. I'm Bishop Mendiola, and I'm running for senator to promote lower cost of living, increase our food security, and ignite new economic sector development. I will put to work my fresh ideas, my experience as a small business owner to create legislation that removes the red tape on our economic growth. I want to pave the way to a prosperous, wealthy, and self-sustainable island community. I'm Bishop Mendiola, number 13 on the Republican ballot, and I approve this message.
As it turns out, guys, Dave Ate Dave is not here today, so it's just Janella and I. But Janella's wearing her. You might recognize the outfit from the movie The Sound of Music. Is what the nuns were wearing when she was in the thing. Hey, look, there she is. No, it's not so bad. No, it does. It looks like you're going to church.
Yeah, I like that.
It's nice. It's a nice outfit. It brings out the color of your eyes.
Oh, thank you.
There's way too much infrastructure between the two of us. It works on that camera, but I don't know about everything else. Anyway, Janella Carrera back in the studio, and she sent out a thing yesterday, and we talked about this a little bit last time as well.
Yes.
Is there's all kinds of businesses. In fact, Carabao Brewing just had a job fair over at their place.
Oh,
yeah,
great.
But they could have had it at your
At
place.
our place, and in partnership with us. And yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
That's something we could have done.
So how do we work something like that out? So I might want to hire a couple of people. I know that there's every restaurant, bar, and lots of businesses that are looking for people. And it'd be nice if there was one big massive job fair. But if you just want to do one for your office, you guys are ready to help.
Yeah, we can definitely assist. So either we can have it at our location, the GCIC building in Hagåtña, or we could help assist you in setting it up at the place of business.
So you could have gone to Carabao with Anna and Ben?
We could have if they decided to. Did they have it at their location?
Yeah, they had the Hagåtña location of the Carabao. I don't know that there's another one.
I mean,
but that particular one.
We could help facilitate and make some announcements and all that stuff. But definitely, that's something we could.
Now, would you send somebody over to help? I mean, would you got staff?
Yeah, we've got staff. They can go down there. They can assist with any questions or any concerns that the job seekers may want to know about or want answers to. But
Right.
They can definitely facilitate that.
Okay, so but even though they don't work, say, at Carabao, or they don't work at these restaurants and bars.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely. So that's the same thing that we did with Citadel Pacific, which is I don't know if they're a parent company or sister company of IT and EIP.
They're huge.
Right, they're huge.
They're absolutely, they're massive. It's all of the above.
It encompasses all of them, right.
We have buildings and we have gas stations and we have cell phone plans and all of that stuff.
Yeah, so what we did was we assisted them and coordinated the job fair that we held on October 7th, which was not last Friday, but the Friday before. And we held that at our conference room at the AJC.
Okay.
At GCIC building.
Were they full at the ITC building? They could have done it.
Well, I think what they wanted was to kind of have that partnership and make that, so what our AJC is it's a conference room, but really you can use it as a resource center for anything. You can use it if you want to have a company training. Yeah, so it's there. It's available to businesses and organizations, GovGuam and private sector companies.
So you don't need to know a guy. All you got to do is make a phone call,
Just
talk
call
to you,
us.
talk to Dave, and make the arrangements. Would that also work for like public service organizations?
Yes.
So I'm in the coin club and I want to bring all my coin, for what is it? The otaku. I want to bring all of my anime buddies out into one place. So all go there and have our semi-monthly meeting.
Well, the goal is to try to get people employed, right? So, or provide some kind of training for a company for their employees to be.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying it's got a nice meeting room, and if you're not using it, then I can use it.
A long time ago when I was still doing news, I remember Will. It
wasn't that long ago.
Okay, so 4 or 5 years ago. Who was it? It was Senator at the time. Will Castro was a senator, and he wanted to teach a class or he wanted GovGuam. I think he was with BSP. Was it BSP at the time?
Stats and plans, the IT side. I
right.
want to say
He wanted them to be versed in how to write a press release and media communication. So he asked me if I could help teach the class, and certainly did, and it was at the AJC.
I'll be darned. Okay, all right. So a lot of
ago.
things that
So
you can
things
do
like
with the place. All right, getting back to the original idea though, is if it's one of those things, and it sounds scalable, right?
Yes.
Citadel, like I said, is not a small company here. They're one of the larger and growing companies that we've got here on Guam, and launching something new
and
all
I
the
imagine
time.
this is probably not going to be the only job fair that they're going to host for a while because they are a big company.
Yeah.
But this one was, a little smaller scale, as you said, scalable. So they had maybe close to 40 people, almost 40 people that came out and participated in the job fair, and of that, 22 were offered employment. So that's
because
over half.
it is like that these days with a
Yes.
lot of employers. Our needs are not. Yeah, I'm not building a list here. I need workers tomorrow, and if you can get guys to fill out the application and come up with the right numbers and the right packages, then by all means get them in there. I imagine that some of the questions that would be fielded either to the businesses or to folks that work at the Department of Labor have to do with some of those benefits and packages, perks, and what are the other parts of this job that I need to know about? Is there is safety requirements and things like that?
And we can get them registered on Hire Guam,
Mhm.
the AJC. So, in the event that they're not, they don't pick up employment with the company that they're applying to, we have them in our records in our system, and we can assist them with finding work elsewhere.
To what degree is that being used to Hire Guam? I mean, not necessarily on the employers, on potential employees. Are there people that I mean are checking every day? Has an offer come in?
We do get walk-ins to the AJC for people who are just looking for work, out of work, or looking for to switch careers. So we do get people coming in, but all of our services. So, like for example, with
I think that was the original purpose of Hire Guam was to be able to do something like that, to be able to get businesses and individuals seeking jobs in the same place. And in fact, I was reminded during the COVID times, we said we got to do this thing for the Hire Guam, and we got to take care of it so that our employees would be able to go in there and put their paperwork together so that they would be able to get the PUAs. And my accountant comes over. He says, "What's the password?" I said, "What?" He says, "You already signed up. we're already in the database. What password did you use to get in?" And I said, "Password." And so he was able to go in and so that's how all of that worked. But the idea at the time, and I remember having DOL people in here before Dave, before you, that were talking specifically about what this was eventually going to be able to do and do in big numbers. So hopefully you're able to track now on some kind of a dashboard the number of people that are looking for work and the number of businesses that are looking for employees.
So on a limited basis, because it's limited to those who do come in and get registered on Hire Guam. Not everybody does that, right?
Correct.
But for our programs, like for example, JSVG, which is for veterans, work experience, apprenticeship programs, we normally do register them on hireguam.com through the AJC. So all those people that we serve and come in and have a need, we register them. Then there are people who just go in and they're looking for work.
Yeah, I was going to say you don't need to go in.
No,
you don't need to go to the AJC to be able to get into Hire Guam. If you've got a phone, you can register.
You can do it online.
Yeah, do it online and then just kind of sit back and maybe wait for the offers to come. What do you do? Here's my resume. These are the things I'm good at. This is what I'm experienced at. Here's what the kind of money I'd like to make, and then leave it to the potential employers to be able to seek you out.
We're pretty much the only employment agency really there is here in Guam. I mean, we're the state job bank, right?
Yeah, I found out that Indeed, as in Indeed.com, works out here. I had no idea.
Do they have like an actual office? Like
No, there's no office. I don't think there's support.
Because there's LinkedIn also, and I know that they post jobs.
LinkedIn is garbage. I'm sorry. I'm LinkedIn, and as far as I'm concerned, it's another social media annoyance that I've got to keep track of. And I'm like, as soon as somebody says, "Oh, I see you on LinkedIn. Can we hang out here?" I'm like, no. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. You want to talk to me? I got WhatsApp. I don't need another whole other kind of social media thing, even if it is work related. Now I don't know. Maybe I'm missing out on something, but I created the account, got bored with it, and so I'm working on getting linked out. I think it's like Facebook. You can't leave. I think you have to get beaten out like you're in a gang or something like that.
You can't just deactivate your account.
I don't think so. I haven't been able to, but I'm too lazy even to do that. I don't know. So the other thing is, can you helping businesses? Because I think that right now might be a very peculiar time for people that employ folks. It's always been tricky, but now you've got quiet quitting. You've got a whole another generation of people for whom
demanding hybrid work.
Hybrid work. How many times do I need to come into the office? I want to get paid for 40 hours a week, but I don't actually want to be in the office for 40 hours a week. I need to go to the beach, man. I got to hang out over at the coffee shop, do all of those things. I have a quality of life that I'd like to experience while I'm working for you as few hours as possible to make as much money as possible. So, to what degree are you helping out, maybe retraining HR guys? How are you helping kind of guide businessmen and women that are used to the old school into the new way of thinking?
So, what we do have at Department of Labor, we have other programs as well, other divisions that deal with fair employment. So those types of agencies, they actually do conduct trainings regularly as well with HR departments. So, and I've posted about those. So like we had one with Goodwin Development the other day, and this, we talk about other, not just, labor laws, but also sexual harassment in the workplace discrimination.
Never heard of it.
And
not around me.
Oh my gosh, Ray. You keep me on my toes.
I absolutely do. Hey, is there a new rule coming out from the Fed that is going to require that gig employees, and gig's a big deal, right? There are people, I'm not, as we say, there's this whole new world. I don't necessarily want to work in your company. I don't want a business card. I don't want a title. I just want to come in every once in a while and do your books. Or I just want to come in every once in a while and do a specific
in our time. We call that freelance work.
Yeah, freelance work, right. So my understanding is that there's a new rule that's coming out of the Fed now that will require businesses to treat freelancers just like employees.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I got to look into that.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting because, you usually issue some kind of like a W.
Yeah, because if you don't need anything, if you don't need anything other than a check for having done this much work, then I'll just give you a check. I don't see why I need to worry about your Social Security, any of the withholdings,
and it would be incumbent
benefits
on the freelancer or the gig worker to file all their taxes and make sure the documentation on their end is correct.
Yes.
All that.
So what they're saying is that we've been taking advantage of these gig workers for far too long, and they deserve, under the Constitution of the United States of America, to be treated like regular employees. So line them up for your insurance, line them up for all of the benefits, unemployment, whatever that you're going to be that you hit your other mainline employees. with.
There was in India. I was reading about this the other day. There's a particular state in India. I forgot which state, but most if not all their employees, their government employees, were contract workers. So they made a bold move to turn those 57,000 workers into permanent employees. And they're like one of the first few states to start this trend. So, and there are countries out there that actually only employ people based on contract work and not actual full-fledged employees with benefits.
Well, the reason why I bring it up, and I know many other companies are doing the same thing. There are, in fact, there's probably 3 of them in the building right now. I'm not going to say who they are, but they've got other full-time jobs out there, and I have contracted them for other services to me for X hours of a week at X dollars, and they're perfectly fine with it.
Sounds like it's almost like unionizing these.
Well, I don't know. Don't say the U. Never say the U
use
word
that
around
word
me.
here, right?
Not in my shop. This is not a union shop, ladies and gentlemen. No AfterCard required here. 8:55 in the morning. I did want to. So if you want to get into the Higher Guam thing, if you want to be able to use their facilities, if you want them to come to your facilities and help out, how do we get a hold of you and your big shots?
So the American Job Center, you can visit us at the GCIC building, 3rd floor, or you can give us a call, 475-7000.
Can you just pick me up because I hate parking in that lot?
Believe me, I know.
Right. I mean, you can't have a car any bigger than a Miata to fit in any of the parking spaces. And how do you ladies that work at the GCIC building handle that breezeway that you've got there on the way into the elevators without your skirts flying up all over the place?
It's actually not. It hasn't been that breezy.
Okay.
And I think it's because of all the rain with no wind.
Okay. All right. Just kind of curious about that because for me, that would have always been the perk of working at the GCIC building. At any rate, because it's a Ray thing and I'm a boy, don't forget. And the last thing here, we talked about this. The deadline is looming. It will be Wednesday next week for the truck driving boot camp.
No, Friday. This Friday.
Is it?
This Friday is 21st.
Yes,
21st is the last day.
Occurs the online form of interest by 5 p.m. Wednesday, October 26, 2022. But you're saying it's Friday for this?
What are you reading?
I'm reading from your press release on the truck driving boot camp.
Oh, this is not mine.
Oh, that's not yours.
This is GCC's. There's truck driving. Mine is bus driving. Bus driving boot camp.
Okay, got it. Okay, well, if you look in the back of one of the newspapers here today, you will see that there are jobs right now, and whether you're bus driving or you're truck driving, I'm going to imagine that the skill set is similar and easily translatable from one to the other.
Absolutely, yes. But I just want to note that for the bus driving boot camp, you don't need any experience. That's part of the training. That's why we have the training, is because we will train you how to drive a bus.
And then make sure that you get licensed,
And you get your
which is also
licenses.
another great perk.
You get your C and your D license.
Better than doing it yourself. I'll give you an example. King Bus Tours is looking for bus drivers now with that D license, and they will pay you $12 an hour to go and do that. If you are previous service, they're looking for you. But if you're new, go find Joe, and Joe will find out where you can
That's
go.
one thing we want to eventually transition into. So right now the partnership is with GCC, DPW, and GRTA.
Mm-hmm.
And there will be jobs waiting for them at the end of the program.
Right.
But eventually, you know, we'd like to partner with private sector companies, just like the one advertised that you were reading about.
Mhm.
If they're looking for truck drivers or bus drivers, then maybe eventually they can pull from the cohort that we're training.
Yes.
If we have, you know, eventually, you know, do more cohorts.
Well,
right now,
or you can become a gig guy and say, okay, I'm going to
I'll
work
do this
over
on
at
the side.
GRTA all day, Monday through Friday, and then on the weekends, if I still have more time, and why not get behind a bus and have somebody pay me $24 an hour?
Do deliveries
20 bucks.
overnight, and, you know, something like that.
Yeah. It's all doable. All right. Again, for information on any of these programs, make contact with the Department of Labor and
American Jobs Center. Yeah, and I just really want to emphasize that we're available. I
Mm.
mean, the AJC training room, the conference room is available to companies and businesses to utilize if they want to do video conferencing, train their employees, do mini job fairs. We are absolutely at your service.
All right, gotcha. Well, tell Dave I said I missed him. I don't really,
yeah.
but
He
tell him
misses you too.
I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. Color good, Dave. Wherever you happen to be, the color is good. Sorry I missed you. We did have a get together with our favorite uncle, and I'm sorry that you weren't able to make it. I had a lot of mahi tuna in your absence. Closing in on 9 o'clock in the morning, Janelle. It's always literally a pleasure to see you, and I never ever want to see that dress again.
Okay, I promise I'll banish this from my wardrobe.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And enough time now to remind everybody that if you just cannot get enough of the Bahane family, there's John B's Market out on Route 3.
Route 3, NCS Road,
Mm-hmm.
behind Shell gas station, across from Nick Tim's.
All right, go and find that place and see what the latest and greatest has been brought from the Philippines.
And say hi to my mom.
And say hi to your mom. And we'll tell your cute sister I said hi as well. We're closing in on 10 o'clock in the morning. I want you to stand by now for Fox News Live, 93.3 KUSG Aganya. We are The Point. Next hour, Guam Regional Medical City. They've got a new doc in, and we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about your stinky feet. It's all ahead on The Ray Gibson Show after this.
It could happen in days. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. A subpoena could be served this week on former President Trump after last week's vote by the House January 6th committee.
It's not clear if former President Trump would comply with a subpoena compelling testimony and documents about the Capitol riot. In a lengthy social media post last week, Trump heavily criticized the panel's investigation and repeated his claims of a stolen election. Committee members, including Vice Chair Liz Cheney, have indicated last week's hearing may not be the final one. Work is ongoing, they say, to complete interim and final reports before the end of the year. On Capitol Hill, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The Justice Department says former Trump aide Steve Bannon should serve 6 months behind bars and pay a $200,000 fine for defying a subpoena from the House January 6th committee. The DOJ says Bannon, who was convicted last summer, should get the sentence because they say he pursued a bad faith strategy of defiance and contempt and publicly disparaged the committee. Bannon's lawyer says he should receive probation and not serve time in prison. It's now live. The online application process for student loan relief is now open. President Biden made it official today.
In total, more than 40 million Americans can stand to benefit from this relief. And about 90% of that relief is going to go to people making less than $75,000 a year.
An early beta version of the online form released late Friday handled an early stream of applications, the president says, without a glitch or any difficulty. Police in Okmulgee, Oklahoma say 4 men who were last seen riding their bicycles more than a week ago were shot and dismembered, their bodies found in a river. And they say a man considered a person of interest in the case who has been questioned by police has disappeared. Police say they want to speak with him again. America is listening to Fox News.
Half a day. I'm Jesse Anderson Lujan. Throughout this campaign, I've been presenting my plans to reduce inflation, rebuild our tourism industry, and fight the crystal meth and crime problems plaguing our island. Our government can do more to lift the burdens facing our families. If elected, I will be ready on day one to get to work to help make Guam safe again and urgently rebuild our economy. I humbly ask you, please vote Jesse Anderson Lujan, number 7, Republican. I'm Jesse Anderson Lujan, and I approve this message.
A message from KFC's Colonel Sanders.
I spent months searching the world over for the very best Nashville hot chicken recipe. Then I found it in the last place I ever expected, Nashville. KFC's new Nashville hot chicken with a legendary blend of spicy and smoky flavor.
KFC's Nashville Hot is back on Guam for a limited time. Get yours today. It's finger-licking good.
Newly released body cam footage shows what officials are calling an ambush that killed 2 Connecticut police officers.
Bristol police officer Alec Iorato is still recovering from being hit in the leg during Wednesday's shooting that left 2 of his fellow officers dead. And newly released body camera video shows how it unfolded from his perspective. Sergeant Dustin DeMonte and Officer Alex Hamzy were called to the home in response to a 911 call that officials say was an ambush.
Officer shot.
The footage shows Iorato firing a single bullet at Nicholas Brutcher, who had already opened fire on DeMonte and Hamzy from behind, shooting more than 80 rounds. Body cam video from the 2 murdered officers has not been released. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
A member of Congress has been hospitalized.
Iowa Congresswoman Ashley Hinson is being treated for a kidney infection. Her chief of staff says the Republican was admitted Sunday night to a hospital in Cedar Rapids. In a statement, Hinson's chief of staff, Jimmy Peacock, says the Congresswoman is, quote, looking forward to being back on the road soon. Her office is not saying when she is expected to be released from the hospital. Hinson is a former TV journalist who was first elected to the House of Representatives in 2020. She's currently running for re-election in Iowa's 2nd Congressional District against Democratic State Senator Liz Mathis. In Washington, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
Workers at the Philadelphia Museum of Art are back to work after reaching an agreement on a contract which ended a roughly 3-week-old strike. The museum hailed what it called a strong agreement that works for everyone, and said officials look forward to bringing our entire staff back together and welcoming you to the museum as a reunited team. The union said it achieved all its objectives, including pay raises, higher minimums, longevity pay to recognize length of service, and reduce health care costs. I'm Lee Silasera. This is Fox News.
Stop by Olive Garden for their never-ending pasta bowls. Available for lunch and dinner. Choose a pasta, choose a sauce for $19.99. Add a never-ending topping for $7.99. You can mix and match your refills at no extra charge. Refill again and again. Your entree comes with never-ending soup or salad and never-ending breadsticks. Promotion is from October to November 20th. Olive Garden open every day from 11 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. for lunch and 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. for dinner. Please call 671-989-0008. Portions are not available for takeout.
News this hour is brought to you by the friendly and hardworking folks at Hoffaday Realty. Jody, Saran, Libby, Lolita, and their team of professionals. For all your real estate needs, contact Hoffaday Realty. Recently nominated as one of PICA's best real estate companies. Call 671-588-4232 or email hoffadayrealty@gmail.com. Located at 426 Chalon San Antonio, Suite 204, Tumaning. Open Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. till 4 p.m.
Half a day. I'm Tom Fisher. Here's the harsh reality. A trip to the grocery store for the basics, eggs, bag of rice, butter, can of Spam, milk, costs almost $30, and that's just 5 items. The cost of living continues to grow, but the money doesn't. We need to roll back the business privilege tax to reduce Guam's cost of living, and I will make that happen.
Vote Thomas Fisher for senator. If you want different, vote different.
I'm Tom Fisher, and I approve this message.
Take your business to new heights with the United Business Credit Card. Earn 30,000 bonus miles after spending $3,000 within the first 3 months after account opening. Plus, earn 3 times the miles per $1 spent on United tickets through United until April 30th, 2023, and 2 times the miles thereafter. Visit any First Hawaiian Bank branch or go to fhb.com United Business for more information and to apply for your United Business Credit Card today. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes.
Portions of the program brought to you by my friends over at APL American President Lines, a global presence with a local home.
Rediscover talk radio here. Your FM News Talk Superstation. This is The Point.
7 after 9 o'clock in the morning, and thanks very much, Janella, for swinging by the radio station. And I think I've made it very, very clear what kind of wardrobe decisions I'd like to have her make when she comes in for in-studio interviews. And Dave Del Sola did chime in and say, "Be nice to Janella. Sorry, I can't make it," or something like that. I've already deleted the message from the
You tried,
phone.
you tried, Ray.
I did. And we're going to work through another in-studio interview with a couple of friends. Eric from over at Guam Regional Medical City. Always great having you in the building and bringing by some new friends for me.
Great to see you again, Ray.
It's always good. I didn't expect you were going to be coming in today.
Well,
am I in trouble?
Sometimes you throw curveball questions. I got to be ready for those.
Like CEO level guys coming into the studio.
That's an overstatement. That
It's cool. It's cool. Now, and also in the studio, I've got Dr. Melinda Sangalang, who is. I hope I said the name right. It is pronounced Melinda.
Yes, sir.
Okay, gotcha. I'm trying to figure out where the connection is with relation. You are an Academy of Our Lady of Guam graduate?
Yep. Shout out to the class of 84.
Class of 1984. Okay, now I'm trying to figure out which one of my siblings might have been at the Academy of Our Lady of Guam in 1984, and I think that pegs it as like Rebecca time. I don't think it's Mana time. I'm not sure.
Yeah, she's your sister was a little bit younger than we were.
Okay.
I'm thinking class 87.
Yeah. In there. Now she was good. She was a great Academy girl, and taught me the concept of how Academy girls drive around. It's never as simple as just who sits in the front, who sits in the back, who calls shotgun. Apparently, if you are shotgun, you are in charge of radar and radio. Got to keep your eye out for the cops and make sure that the radio is always playing the right kind of tunes from back in those days. You came up. I'm sorry. Whenever I hear 1984, I think of a couple of things, and one of them was, man, you came up. Guam was such an incredible place to be a senior in high school anytime in the 80s. But I want to say in particular 1984. It's just so much going on.
Oh, it was great. I mean, essentially, time of technology was coming up, and then unfortunately, with the brain drain in the 80s, I'm starting to see now that some of us are actually coming back.
Well, I hope so. And you've got kind of a story on that. And I was going to ask you if you spent a lot of time watching Stranger Things, if for no other reason, to hear some great tunes from the 1980s, including, Running Up the Hill by Kate Bush.
No,
nothing like that. You're one of those hard-working doctors then, huh?
Kinda. I try to have a life.
Okay, well, we'll explore a little bit of all of that, too. Now, tell me a little bit about, beyond being a student at the Academy of Our Lady of Guam, sister let you out in 1984, and then you went off to college. Did you always want to be a foot doctor?
No, actually, I knew I wanted to be in the medical field. I knew I wanted to do some kind of surgery.
Yeah.
And so I was actually a late comer to the medical field.
Because Academy girls like cutting people. I don't know if you've heard.
None of people
my daughter's a senior. I know for sure that they like to cut people. But anyway.
So I joined the military. After about 9 years there, took the GI Bill. Moved to North Carolina.
Can you tell my daughter and all of the other kids about being able to do something like that? The military will take care of you, and if you got if your ass fabs are good enough, and I don't even know if they care about that anymore. But if you you extend yourself halfway into the thing, you get out after a few years as an officer, and pretty soon they go, okay, where did you want to go to school? Now we'll cover it.
Well, let's put it this way: 3 hots and a cot. Who can beat that?
Exactly. There's that too.
And today's economy, I have a friend now who actually just joined the military. She was on the higher end of the age. What she did was she basically lived here on Guam. She went to school part-time, got a few, she went and got her pharmacy certificate.
It's good money in pharmacy, yeah.
Okay. And then she joined the military. And she told them straight up, this is the job that I want. So she had to wait, got her slot. So now she's active duty stateside. And the advantage to that was she got to see the world as a civilian, all the way up till she was about mid-20s. Now she's in the military. So now she can make up her mind and figure out, is this for me or this not? Because a lot of times people don't want to be told how to fold your underwear.
Well, yeah. But I mean, as I say, it's the investment. You put something in, you're going to get something out of it. And then if you're very, very clear about what it is that you want to do in the military, I've found that in most cases they'll drive you into that particular zone so that you can come out with the degrees that you're looking for. You can come out with the career that you're looking for. And so the great news is you've been in long enough. You got the training. Do we set you up with any kind of annuity? You got any other payments coming in from Uncle Sam?
Actually, what happened was I got out around the time Bill Clinton was in. It was get out with a lump sum or take X number of dollars over X number of years.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. So I went to school on the GI Bill, had some of that money coming in, still worked part-time, but that helped.
Yeah.
So eventually I figured out, okay, I'm finally going to the medical field, and I fell into podiatry by accident.
Okay, what do you mean you fell into it by accident?
Actually, I wanted to be an MD. And
just GP?
Yeah, just, front of the mill.
Yeah.
And because I was an older student, I was like, well, I can't stress myself that much. I want to have a family life. So within my last year and a half of going to undergraduate school in North Carolina, there was a program in Eastern Carolina University, the medical school there. Got accepted to that, met some great people, and out of that group, a lady who was ahead of me, who graduated a year ahead of me, when she went to podiatry school, said, you've got to check this out. So went up to Philadelphia for the weekend, sat in a class, and just hung out. And I said, yeah, this is for me.
Was it the sheer number of nerves and bones in the feet that got your attention?
No, it was actually the variety.
Huh.
I call it one of three ways. You can be surgeon one day, you could be general podiatrist trimming nails, and the third day you can be arts and crafts, meaning orthopedics. So I'm not working with orthotics. So you can modify shoe gear, you can do what you need to do. So it's like three different things in one.
All right.
I really know it's not boring for me.
Right. Every day is going to be different for you, and every time you open the door and here comes another patient, you've got a whole other set of challenges. Now, you mentioned something about clipping toenails.
Yeah.
I've been clipping my toenails since I was a little boy. Am I doing it wrong?
What I tell people is, and this is one thing I've noticed, you know how they tell you just cut it straight across? Quite frankly, I can't do that because my toes are kind of deformed. So what I do is, and this is the best thing to do, just cut it enough so that it doesn't get to the quick, so it's not hurting. If it does curve on the sides, just massage the skin away.
Oh, is it?
So that when it grows forward, it doesn't get caught. And that's a lot of things.
All right, so I want to do something that I would not normally do. So I'm not going to do it, but I'll say I want to. When I was 14 years old, and I had kind of a nervous tic, so I was always picking at my toenails, and it got really bad. One of them got the great toe got really bad, and there was a big infection in there. And the doctor that we went to said, well, the toenail's got to come out. And I'm 14 years old. I'm freaking out. What? The toenail has got to come out. And it came out. It was a painful procedure. And I remember having a fever the night that we came home, because as far as I was concerned, that might have been the biggest procedure ever on me, period. And when the nail bed started coming back in, when the toenail started growing back out, there must have been some kind of lingering virus or something like that, because it came in all ridgy and kind of ugly, and it's one of the things that I want to eliminate in my life. 60 years old now, and I've been living with it since I was 14, and I'd love to have 2 matching toenails. And so the question is, how do you do that? I mean, there are funguses and things like that that live in the nails.
Yep. Usually what I'll tell people is if it's a true fungus, it'll take a while for it to come out. It didn't happen overnight.
Oh, months.
Yeah.
Months. I remember one of the procedures, not procedure, but there was a medication the doctor gave me, and I had to put it on every day for 4 months. Still didn't work, by the way, but I the discipline and the self-control to remember to put the stuff on, and don't wear black socks because the material sticks to this, because it's like a clear nail polish. Yeah, and it sticks to it, and so now I've got a toenail with this streak of black on it that I got to sand out one of these days. I got to get the grinder out. But I mean, it's more common than I think most people think happens, right?
Yep. A lot of times people will mistake a nail that's thickened by age with one that has fungus on it. So the only way to truly test it is to just take a nail clipping, send it to the lab. But I usually tell people sometimes it comes back negative.
Yeah.
So if it's a true fungus, what you could do, and I tell people this, is, believe it or not, tea tree oil.
What kind of oil?
Tea tree oil.
Joe,
natural.
Run over to Rexall.
Right away, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Because the other one they gave me was kind of an expensive. It was an expensive thing, and like I said, I was glad that it lasted 4 months because I didn't want to have to buy it any more than once. But like I said, I don't know whether maybe I wasn't faithful to the process, or maybe I just got to go through another patch of it. But one of these days, I hope to get that done. Would it be possible just to pull the nail out again and hope that it comes back right?
Oh,
You could, but a lot of times it won't. A lot of times it won't, because if the fungus is embedded in there, that's the problem.
There's a fungus thing, and I don't know that it's going around. And I went to go. It's another one of these Ray Gibson stories, but hopefully it's lining up with something that you have. For a while, I had this gross patch of skin close to my feet, and I didn't know what the heck it was. It was dry and itchy and flaky, and I thought this is it, and it wasn't going away. I mean, I thought maybe moisturizer or something like that. Maybe I needed to put a couple of other things on it. And I finally went to go see a doctor, not a podiatrist, but I went to go see a doctor, and she gave me some steroid thing that helped kill most of it, and then the rest of it was basic go to Payless and buy athlete's foot medicine. That was so. It was some kind of fungus that I had on my skin. How do you get that? What happened?
It's anywhere. So if you have a little break in the skin, and God forbid you pick it up somewhere, it's everywhere. So
well, I hike a lot. I'm out in the boondocks,
so
and then
these microbes live everywhere. And unfortunately, no matter how clean you are, if there's a break in the skin and it gets in, it's got a hold.
Right.
So then you go to medication usually.
And I'm sure that you see a whole lot of that running around here, where people go, I don't know where it came from. It's not going away on its own. And I lived with this thing for like 6 or 7 months, and I thought that eventually something will happen. And the doctor said, no, that's one of those things that you get that kind of requires medication. No conversation with a podiatrist would be complete without a conversation about gout. It's 2022. How is it possible that people that I know and love have got to be very, very clear on what their dietary choices are going to be today? Pop a pill before they eat something that they think might bring on the gout. How come we haven't cured that yet?
Well, gout basically is your body's inability to get rid of the uric acid that's built up. Or
how's it get to my feet? What is it? But how did it get there?
Because those are the smaller joints, right? But what it basically is purine and these crystals that accumulate down the joints. Well, that's the furthest away from your heart, so that's where it's the coolest. So imagine salt, salt water evaporates, it leaves behind crystals, correct?
Same thing.
Right. So that's the furthest away, smaller joints, bigger joints, not so much. And except on Guam, I've seen gout everywhere.
Yeah.
So essentially what I tell people, it's mostly the diet. That's what it comes down to. So,
but it's like cancer. Some people get it, some people don't. We might be eating the same thing.
Well. Genetics as well. I'll give you a personal story. My family has uric acid through the roof. Knock on wood, none of us have gout, which is strange. I know somebody who can take 2 sips of beer, and boom, he has an attack.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's hell on earth.
So...
Is it preventable? Is there, I mean, as you say, a lot of it is hereditary, a lot of it is diet related. It should be, if my uncle had gout, is it likely that I may encounter gout?
You could. If it runs in the family, the only way you'd find out is if you have a gout attack.
There you go. We have one symptom, gout.
Yeah. So
have it or not.
I tell folks, if it's red hot swollen, you don't have a wound beside it, most likely it's gout.
Okay.
So I always tell people prevention. Look up low purine diet, PURIN, on the web.
Okay.
It'll tell you what you can and cannot eat, what you need to eat in moderation. Now, if you have done everything right, and I've met those patients that do everything right, they still have an attack once in a while.
And knock down, drag out of commission for 2 days until all of this goes away. And you ask them, what's it like? It's torture, absolute torture. So again, I'll throw the number out here. Low key bragging. I'm 60. I think I look like I'm 40. But is it possible at this age I've dodged that bullet? I haven't had it. It's never been a problem for me. I still enjoy a variety of meal items, and I haven't gotten a gout attack. Is it possible that now I'm past a certain age now and unlikely to get it?
I wouldn't say you're unlikely to get it, but you've been lucky.
I've been lucky.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, I've known people as young as 20 getting it. 20. And it's just painful. So, unless it runs in your family, And most likely you're probably not going to get it, but I'm not going to say never.
Right.
Never say never. So, yeah, you've been on the lucky side.
So if somebody's listening right now and is contemplating a gout attack or may actually be in a gout attack, what do you prescribe for them so that they can mentally and physically survive that ordeal?
Usually for short-term indomethacin, but if it's going to be a long-term or something that happens more than twice a year, and you've controlled your diet and all, see your primary care doctor. They're going to have to put you on something long-term.
Wow. What kind of long-term?
Every day.
Every day, like a pop a pill every day to prevent this from happening?
Yep.
Man, this is one of those things. Can we also say that if you enjoy a moderately to good exercise regime and a fairly clean diet, that it's unlikely to be as bad as it could be? I mean, do we want to throw the diet and exercise lecture out this early into the interview?
We should.
Okay.
We should, because of everything else that is happening on this island. It's one of those things you really should throw out there.
All right. Fascinating conversation with all of this. You were talking about, and she's a runner, and anybody knows me knows that I've done my share of races, long and short ones. I will eventually get my mojo back and get out there and enjoy it. Another low-key bragging point is I'm not running as much as I'd like to, but I still need to do my cardio, so I'm jump roping. Do I, as a potential patient, do I have anything to worry about with jump roping? Is that a fairly safe cardio that I can do?
Fairly safe if your joints are pretty good, because there's a lot of trauma on joints, just like with running. So I think that the numbers are 200 times your weight every time you run and you land on your foot. So I tell a lot of folks, swimming is a good alternative. You have the beach, except for when you have jellyfish season.
Yeah, the beach is for drinking beer. I don't know about this swimming thing that you're talking about, but I understand that there might be some people that might enjoy getting out there and sweating in the water. I know many of them, and I meet them on the beach while I'm drinking beer, saying, "I'll wait for you here. Go, come back, try not to drown, and I will be here when you return." So swimming is good. Cycling also a great form of cardio if you're having a hard time with the joints.
Yeah, and but for that it's the repetitive, so it could be hips and knees again. So I always tell people that think down the road, if you overuse something, what's going to hurt?
Well, every sport has a new injury. Every sport has a new pain that you're going to have to get used to. It's like, as a runner, one of the things that we worry about is plantar fasciitis. And I remember somebody saying, "Well, how do you get there?" So you get it by running. How do you get rid of it? Stop running. And generally that it will tend to go away. But between podiatrists and therapists, I got to imagine that you see a lot of plantar fasciitis cases. Okay, so we go back to prevention. My response, you don't run, is not necessarily a good response, and in many cases I've just had to suck up and deal with the idea that when I get out of bed in the morning, that first step on the floor will be torture and pain. It eventually goes away as I'm, my body heats up and does all that stuff. But you get those moments, hot spots in the foot, because that's where the inflammation is. Yeah, absolutely crazy. What are you recommending, for people that want to get into running or want to get into that kind of cardio and are worried that they might be susceptible to plantar fasciitis?
First thing I say is good pair of shoes. And the people always say, "Well, what brand?" It doesn't matter the brand.
Yeah.
What matters is it gives you support. So a lot of times, unfortunately, on Guam, we don't have one of those walking stores or anything like that. But a good pair of orthotics usually, and usually I'm a very conservative doctor.
Is a store-bought orthotics? I mean, I go to the shoe store, say at the mall, and I'll pick up a pair of New Balance or something like that, just enough support for me. I've always taken out the original soles that come with the shoes and then just put the retail orthotics in there. Should I spend a little bit more time having a 3D reading of my foot done and maybe getting a special custom orthotic?
Usually what I'll tell people is try over the counter first.
Okay.
Because they're a whole lot cheaper. I'm hearing from the States they're going anywhere for $5,000 to $1,000 now for a pair of orthotics.
No way.
Oh, my brother called me about that the other day.
Get out.
His son plays baseball for an Oregon university. I can't remember which one. George Washington, I think. Anyway, He goes, yeah, he needs a new pair. And I said, well, how much is a new pair?
Uh-huh.
$1,000. I'm like, oh, no, no,
Oh,
no.
I feel lucky. I had a custom pair done once upon a time, not for running, but to recover from an injury.
Yeah.
That was $400 or $500 before it was said and done. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm not going to need to wear this forever. What do you do with these orthotics when whatever the injury is that is taken care of? But I mean, it's all 3D printing right now, isn't it? Can't you just whip up a machine at GRMC?
Well, here's the problem with 3D printing. I'm not a big fan of it. Why? Because theory, and it all comes down to theory. I'm old school. So the 3D printing usually has you standing still, right? Well, you're not standing still. When you're using orthotics, you're walking.
Correct.
So old school says take a piece of, the casting material, put the foot in what we call the neutral position, and there's a couple of tricks you add to it, and that's how you capture the foot.
Oh, be darn.
In the best position it should be. So a lot of these folks, I remember when I went through school, there was the one where you walked over walk naturally over this pad on the floor. Well, you can't walk naturally because if the pad's not exactly where you want it to be, you're going to alter your gait. So does that help? No. So a lot of us old schoolers, I still believe in casting. And then there's a lot of people who just capture the foot, just hang it up in the air and let it. But you're not weight bearing.
Right.
B, you're static. I mean, you're not in the natural form.
It's not taking an accurate picture of the foot when you're doing all of this.
Well, when we do capture, it's going to be a neutral position or the best position you can put it in. But it's made for your foot. That's why you're custom made.
Right.
A lot of these things over the counter, they're not custom made. But you could actually just add a little bit of padding here, a little bit of padding there. It just takes a little bit of practice. You can modify something over the counter to be custom made.
Okay, so old school, you're just making my running shoe heavier.
Yeah, but you're getting support.
No, and I've run in a variety of shoes. I used to have a menu of shoes depending on what race I'm doing. Anything longer than about a 10K gets more support. Usually a little heavier, a little bit stiffer on the ride. But anything less than about 4 miles, then I'm running basically in flats. The fastest, no support whatsoever, and the thinnest soles that I could probably get myself into, just because. And I found that generally will work for me. There is another wave of running shoes here. We're going to just do a running thing, but there's a new, everything now has got these little pillows on the bottom of them. I think they first started with the Hoka shoes when those first came out, and now everybody's looking for a G-force return back into the running. And when I wore those shoes, I always felt like the shoes were trying to get me to run differently.
Yes.
And it really bothered me. So I generally stopped running on those, and like I said, still went with something a little bit stiffer, and gave me a little bit more of a ride as opposed to the bounce that I was getting with these things. Are you seeing anybody coming in with injuries that are based on basically running on these too soft pillows?
I'll give you the perfect example that happened 5-7 years ago.
I lost toenails when I ran in Hokas. It was that bad.
It wasn't the Hoka shoe, but remember those where they had virtually no heel. I can't remember. It was I can't remember the Skechers.
Super droppy, yeah.
Yeah, it's the Skechers brand. It was like no heel. It's gonna strengthen your calves and all.
And encourage you to run on the balls of your feet instead of the mids.
It wasn't for running. It was mostly for walking. That's when a lot of people were coming in with plantar fasciitis.
Wow.
And because what was happening was they didn't have the support. And that's the one thing I keep telling people, good supportive shoes. So they were modifying their gait, modifying how they walked, modifying how they put their weight on. Yes, it did tone their calves, but at what cost?
I see it. You're absolutely right. When I was a little kid, it's the Ray Gibson Show, by the way, so everything is going to be about me. When I was a little kid, and to this day, I'm sure, I was diagnosed by the family podiatrist with flat feet. Which meant that I wasn't allowed to have regular shoes for years. Mom would take me to the family shoe store in Agagna, where the Bank of Guam is now, and the Duenas people would get me. They'd get the right shoe size, and then based on whatever the doctor's prescription was, put basically something in there to correct my feet and help build an arch. And I don't know that it worked. I mean, what do you think? What's the conventional wisdom on that now?
Again, I'm old
Were they
school.
torture devices, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm old school. So essentially what they teach you is not all your bones are formed and done by the time you're in teen years. So much less when you're a child.
Yeah.
Because I think the first ones start to what they call ossify, or mean coming together at about 4 years old, or even before, essentially there's 27, 28, depending on who you speak to. But essentially, you've got bones in the feet. They always come in two pieces. Then you have the ossify or come together, okay? So when you're doing that,
and that's the feet you have for the rest of your life. Okay.
Yep. So when you're young and they start to modify your feet already, some people say that's what they need to do. My philosophy is let it ride. Let them do what they need to do. Now, you can offer them some support, but don't force it.
Right.
Because a lot of times kids won't say anything. I don't feel anything. I'm fine. They don't know any better. So if you force it and they start to have pain, then we're creating something we don't need to create. If they're not complaining, let it ride. And when they start to complain, then we can start to address what's going on.
When you say support, I mean, are you talking about the orthotic support at the bottom of the foot, or are you also referring to the structure of the shoe as well, so that it is providing a safe envelope, if you will, for the foot and providing stability not just on the bottom but on the sides and the tops as well?
What I usually tell folks, the easiest thing is buy a pair of high tops. Those
I love high tops.
Yeah, shoes for basketball.
Got chukka boots on now.
You got support from essentially the ankle, or right above the ankle, all the way down.
Nice.
So that you don't collapse totally down the middle or the inside of the foot. So you have some kind of support.
Yeah.
So that's what I usually joke with my folks is, best pair of shoes, hiking boots.
Yeah, and there's a nice hiking place downtown, Southern Mountain Gear.
Yep.
I'm going to see those guys a little bit later on tonight, and those are some of the places where I go, where I'm looking at specifically a pair of shoes, because we're not walking when we're hiking and everything. We're not walking on flat surfaces. Right. We're not walking in dry surfaces. Right. You need to have something that's going to give you the structure that you need to be able to make it through some radical terrain on your feet. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Usually running. I mean, you're on a treadmill or on a track or on the road. Right. You don't get too much variety in what it is that you're stepping on. So completely get the idea here. We were going to talk about, there might have been a couple other things in the write-up here I've had more fun just kind of shooting from the hip on the questions that I've got for you. But there's a thing in here that talks about Zoris, slippers, flip-flops, and I'm a fan of all of that. I got a classmate, and he owns the flip-flop places in the malls, and so I make personal investments in his business quite often. What should I be looking at when I'm looking for a pair of casual, beachy kind of footwear?
If you have to wear flip-flops.
I have to wear flip-flops. Okay. I got nice legs. I want people to see all the way down.
First, find something with a nice arch. A nice arch. So you have at least some support on the inside arch.
They make them flat.
There are some shoes, though.
Okay.
There's some Zoris actually out there that they make. They're called orthotic sandals, but they at least give you some support. Then a little bit, something with a little deeper heel cup. Just enough. I mean, it's if you go out there and buy, I don't want to name the brand,
I swear I've never thought about the heel cup as a part of a choice that I make when I'm buying Zoris. What about what do they call them? Slides in? What do they call it? The kids call them slides? Step in?
Crocs.
No, well, I'm going to ask about Crocs.
Oh, okay.
But like they're wearing the Adidas things that look like regular, like hotel slippers. Ooh, she's making a face. This is bad.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
good.
Okay,
Not
no,
good.
okay,
No,
but
not
okay. So
safe.
he said Crocs,
Ooh.
and she's making another face. You might be saving me a hell of a lot of money here, because I swear I'm seeing guys that they're on their feet all the time, chefs and waiters and things like that, and they look like they've got these Crocs, and then I hear stories about, oh, it's just heaven when I put these things off. I ain't taking them off, and I can work for hours doing this. I'm going to purposely look at her feet now to see what she's wearing. This look like running shoes there.
Yep, running shoes.
All right, okay. And they look like they meet all the requirements. But what about Crocs?
Crocs, not a big fan.
Is it because they're ugly?
No.
Okay, because they are.
Well, that's
Just saying.
beside the point.
Okay.
It's not about the beauty. It's about the function.
Okay, so functionally.
Yeah, functionally, they don't have much support. I mean, there is a brand that tries to mimic Crocs. It's actually got the soft foamy rubber to it. What is the name of it? I can't remember. It's like a T. It looks like a T. Two upside down L's. But anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, that brand actually has the big arch. The only problem I have with that one, though, is it also could destabilize you because it's so high when you first purchase it. And so I don't mind the there's actually only one model that I actually liked, but it's it was one of the original models they do not have anymore.
Oh, I see. Well, because there's guys that run marathons in Crocs. I've been beat by them. I know, and it hurts because I'm going, these guys wearing the ugliest shoes out there. On the subject of pretty shoes, because there's women that are listening to the broadcast, believe it or not. High heels, what are your thoughts? I mean, we're back in gala season. COVID is over, and we're all, everybody wants to get dressed up and go out and wear, there's a specific name for these shoes, and I can't say it on the radio. Something me shoes. So I'm just kind of curious, are there things that women should look out for? Are there alternatives to the spikes?
First comment I have to make to these ladies is, if God wanted us to have heels, He'd have given us hooves. Okay? That's all I'm going to... So you know where I'm going with this.
I do.
But if you have to wear them, it's those ugly, clunky ones from the 70s. Those, you remember? Yeah?
Yes.
Yes. Those at least had better support than the spikes. But if you have to, and then try to keep it about an inch.
What about the? Well, I mean, I'm thinking that maybe the smart thing to do would be to wear comfortable shoes on the way in. You got to go do the gala for a couple hours, then you put on the heels for that, and then as soon as you possibly can, run back to the car. Don't run, but get back to the car and put on those comfortable shoes. Most of the time, nobody's going to pay any attention to it, and you less risk of injuring the foot. I don't know that I ever want to see you professionally, but if I ever do need to running injury or maybe some weird kind of fungus on me again because I can't stay away from the boondocks, how do I find you over at GRMC?
We're over at GRMC, and you just basically call the operator. It's at 645-5500. Right. And I believe it's option 1 for specialty clinic.
Yeah, you could just say you're Dr. Sanglang or Podiatry, and they'll
do I need a referral from Akimoto's usually the guy that would say you will need to see so and so over at such and such, and make a referral for something like that. But I mean, can I just come and see you as a walk-in?
No, we need a referral.
Yeah, it's preferred. I mean, one is the doctor preference because then they can kind of get a history from your primary care as to any conditions. Secondly, sometimes your health plan is going to require it. They don't want to pay without the referral.
Oh, I see. Akimoto just tell you I'm falling apart.
Yeah. But we have some exciting things. I'll jump in here, but Dr. Sanglang has been building the practice. She's got so many patients now that the clinic that she's in, we have specialty clinics throughout the hospital. Neuroscience on the 3rd floor, they're all different places. But she's in a clinic currently called Specialty Clinic where you've got general surgery, orthopedics, sports medicine, and podiatry. She's kind of grown to where she needs to have more space. And we're lucky enough to also have Dr. Acuna coming back to join us to relaunch wound care and hyperbarics. The plan is, and we're thinking as soon as next month.
She's one of my favorites. Yeah.
Yeah, we met yesterday. Everything's looking good. And we're envisioning that Dr. Sanglang and Dr. Acuna will join forces over in the wound care clinic that is right next to the emergency department. So they will have the space to, this is advanced diabetic wound care.
I was going to say, that's me doing a bad interview because it doesn't affect me. I'm not diabetic yet. But for some people, that becomes a problem, and you lose limbs, and you need to keep track of the possibility of infections. And they tell me that those bariatric chambers do a really good job of keeping things clean.
In fact, she told me yesterday that they evidently do wonders for aging too, but no one pays for that. Except
Michael Jackson did that. Michael Jackson used to sleep in a hyperbaric chamber back in the 80s when she was still in high school.
She said the Dallas Cowboys actually have them in their camp for some reason. So, but we're focused on diabetics and also for limited the bands for dive patients. But they'll be a great team, and they're right next to orthopedics and general surgery, so they collaborate on a lot of things with patients.
Well, since you jumped into the microphone, I might as well ask you a question unrelated.
This
is where the curveball comes in. Are you going to provide any testimony or otherwise pay attention to the oversight hearing that's going to take place at the legislature at 2 o'clock this afternoon? They're going to be asking the Speaker of the Legislature and maybe a variety of the brave and courageous members of the 36th Guam Legislature will be asking questions about the nature of this new hospital campus that we're going to be building. Are you going to be watching that, or you got anything else?
But we kind of let the government decide, what they feel. I know that the governor feels that she wants a hospital in the center of the island, and it sounds like one of the prime reasons why they've chosen Eagles Field. We just look to collaborate, with GMH and the government and how to best provide care to the island, and the governor's been very supportive of us and then the team through the
She
pandemic.
was at the grand opening.
We and so were you. And we really worked together well with the pandemic. It was a real test to get the hospitals to work as efficiently as possible because there was no room for separate visions. We worked separately as the non-COVID, and then they were the COVID. Eventually,
I thought the collaboration was good, and you're right. It could have been spottier, but I think after a quick amount of time, everybody figured out what their lanes were, and care was able to be given to people. And to the degree that it's an interesting conversation, there are some people in the medical community here and elsewhere that have an interest in Guam that say, you know where the best place to put a new hospital would be? Right next to GRMC.
Well,
right over there.
We brought that up too. That was an option that we thought was worth considering, and trying to collaborate care so that both hospitals could kind of minimize duplication, right?
Correct.
So you could have efficient availability of resources. But I think the governor's focus is that she feels the central location, and for those in the south, and so. We're willing to work with, whatever they decide, and it's been working well. And both hospitals right now are extremely busy. The emergency departments seem to always be full, and we're both challenged with getting enough nurses to get all the, keep all the beds launched and be able to take care of as many patients as we can.
I was reading a story about Hawaii. Statewide, they've got a shortage of about 1,000 doctors, they think, out there. And a conversation that one of these days we'll develop is, what is it that we've got to do better around here to recruit and retain doctors and nurses. And to the degree that you guys have been able to do an outstanding job with that, making sure that we've got people from Guam, know the people, know the culture. I think
I didn't know she went to the academy until we were right in the lobby here, and she told me she knew your sister.
I think it's a great conversation. So, we'll work on getting more specialists to come out. Who's next on? You got another specialist coming in?
Well, next month we're looking at Dr. Cunha. We'd like to have come into rejoining our team.
Absolutely.
So that would be a focus, but of course we got to run that by her first.
No, just tell her it's me.
We also have a raumatologist that we're getting calls of can we get on a waiting list, but. We owe Dr. Bo Wheeler, who you met, our chief medical officer. He believes in, and we can't count our chickens till they hatch. Until the doctor is on the island and in the hospital, then we'll believe they're here. Now we have someone who signed the contract; they're ready to come. They need a visa. They're working.
Well, they got to do it like the medical examiner. You wait until the dogs are here, because once the dogs are here, that guy can't leave. You cannot take a dog off island.
Shouldn't say, but we had a doctor who showed up and trained him, and he was here for a day, and then the next day he was gone, and we don't know what happened. So it's like I guess it was an emergency room. And they weren't cut out for the volume. So.
Met me. That's what happened. 9:44 in the morning. Do me a favor. Take her back to the hospital. When you get there, tell my buddy Andrew I said hi, and we'll looking forward to hanging out with him maybe a little bit later on today. Thanks so much for coming
by.
by.
We'll be back next month.
Looking forward to it. There's my healthcare partners from over at GRMC. Doc, it's a pleasure meeting you or meeting you again. We might maybe I was at your senior prom. I'm not sure.
Nice meeting.
Possible. Anything can happen because it's Guam, right? Maybe you don't recognize me because I didn't have a beard when I was in school. 9:44 on the Ray Gibson Show. Quick break. I'll be right back.
Guam Regional Medical City was awarded Advanced Primary Stroke Center certification from the Joint Commission. What does this mean? It means our neuroscience team is equipped with the latest technology and a team of the finest neurological doctors to treat stroke, which is one of the leading causes of death on Guam. GRMC, reflecting our commitment to providing safe and quality patient care. For more information about GRMC, visit us at grmc.gu, or to make an appointment, call 671-633-GRMC.
Half a day, Guam. Dr. Bob and the team at Guam Pet Hospital humbly ask for your vote in the annual PICA's Best veterinary category. You can vote every day at guampdn.com. We pride ourselves on honesty, integrity, and client education. Our advanced pet care includes a full in-house digital laboratory, digital x-rays, cancer screening, soft tissue surgery, orthopedic surgery, and an intensive care unit for the emergencies. Please vote Guam Pet Hospital for PICA's Best Veterinary, because your pets deserve the best.
It's not an accident to live a healthy, long life. It's a choice. The food you eat, the water you drink, the air you breathe. A deep, restful sleep along with exercise will put you on a good path to live a healthier, longer life. At NutriWay Systems, we choose to help people find the right solutions to live a longer, healthier life. Make the right choice. NutriWay Systems. Come by our office today. We are located on the second floor of the Daily Plaza in Dededo, or give us a call at 671-864-7867.
Half a day. I'm Bishop Mendiola, and I'm running for senator to promote lower cost of living, increase our food security, and ignite new economic sector development. I will put to work my fresh ideas, my experience as a small business owner to create legislation that removes the red tape on our economic growth. I want to pave the way to a prosperous, wealthy, and self-sustainable island community. I'm Bishop Mendiola, number 13 on the Republican ballot, and I approve this message.
Tell me about it, stud.
Circle K's Craft Beer and Whiskey Festival is back on Saturday, October 22nd. We rockin' and rollin' at the Dusatani Guam Resort from 2 to 10 p.m. Bring your friends and come dressed in your best grease costume to win up to $500 in cash and prizes. So bust out those leather jackets and 50-style outfits as we party the night away at Circle K's Craft Beer and Whiskey Fest. Don't be a square. Get your tickets now at craftbeerfestguam.com or cruise on by any 76 Circle K location. Now that's cool, baby.
Oh, that's sweet. Lady online in the deal. Oh, I know this lady online. It's Trina says, I need this lady in my life. How do I get a hold of her? My feet are dying to meet her. Go see your regular Dr. T, and he will get you a referral to her. Sangalang is the last name over at Guam Regional Medical City. Portions of the program brought to you by the team over at NissanGuam.com and the World Wide Web. Have you looked at a Nissan lately is the question. And if the answer is no, I need you to start looking. Go to the website that I just described, NissanGuam.com, and take a look at the cars. There's a nice little online kind of brochures that they've got for the Kicks and the Rogues and the Frontier and the Versa and plenty more. And then just try to figure out which one is going to be the best for you. Everybody's got a different lifestyle, and requirements, and Nissan has got a car for you. Trust me. Safety built into every single one of them. Gas economy like you wouldn't believe. And up in the 30s, up into 30 miles to the gallon on some of these cars. The Versa gets 35 miles to the gallon, and you're going, yeah, but it's okay because it's only $4.99 for a gallon of gasoline here on Guam. It's gonna go up, trust me. So get yourself into a deal. APRs as low as 2.99%, or I like that to say, or like the governor says, move. I can move money, or up to $1,000 in free gas. Approved credit, T's and C's, terms and conditions apply. Find out what they are at NissanGuam.com. I don't know, man. She was making faces on all the shoes that I was bringing up, the Crocs, and somebody's asking me if I could ask her, maybe in next interview, what about those Vibrams? You remember the shoes that look like gorilla feet?
They got all the toes cut out.
Yeah, the toes that were cut out for it.
Weird.
I owned a pair of those.
What?
I owned a pair of those.
Of course you did, Ray.
And I bought them in the Philippines. I was trying to impress a girl. But anyway, so it was one of those things where, like I said, you don't run the Vibrams, and you don't run some of those Hokas. They run you, is my experience. And what you would need to do is to run in them and let them break you in. And I thought, well, wait a second. I've already got a running style. I've got a running gait. It's like everybody's got their own handwriting and smell. For 99% of the runners on Guam, you can look. You don't even need to see their face. You just look at the way they're running and you go, okay, I know who that is. I know who that is. I know who that is. And so I already had a specific way my body wants to run. And I didn't like the idea that the shoe was going to make me run its way. And so it was a very, very short relationship. And thank God I didn't pay full retail for those shoes. Otherwise, I'd feel terrible about it. But yeah, and on top of that, they are god-awful, butt ugly shoes. Now, having said that about Vibram, I didn't like those Vibram soles. I run on a pair of, is it New Balance? I can't remember off the top of my head the brand of the shoe, but it's ultralight. There is no support whatsoever you run on these flat Vibram soles, and God help you if it rained, because they have absolutely no grip, no grip whatsoever. But anyway, it's running junk, whatever. 10 away from the top of the hour. 888-825-5888-TALK. Crap! I put everything away. I still got 10 minutes to kill. Yeah, well, it's all right. It's okay. I'm a broadcast professional and trained to be able to kill 10 minutes if I absolutely positively need to do something like that. Today has been kind of an adventurous day, what with Janella coming into the studio.
Oh, yeah.
Nice pictures of her, but ugly. I'm sorry, I'm not going to say ugly dress. It's not. If I was to go through the wardrobe,
was too much. Yeah.
That's not the one that I would have selected for wearing to the radio station. But we had that, the foot lady doctor in the studio. But a couple of the bigger conversations that we had earlier in the program, the big news, and I'm sure that the editorial letters are being written now, and we will have another week's worth of editorial content and opinions where we'll use the phrase racist insular cases. The Supreme Court of the United States of America did not hear the case that was brought to it by Neil Weir on behalf of one or two people. I want to say it's just the one guy from American Samoa, but arguably on behalf of millions of territorial insulars, if you will. The Supreme Court decided that they were not going to hear that. They did not see a conflict and have said that the ruling of the lower courts, nothing wrong with it. So that's what we've got here. There are voices that say those insular cases should be overturned just like Roe v. Wade was. And arguments can be made in both directions. I tend to line up with the arguments that are made by Bob Klitsky. One, they weren't talking about us. I don't know why everybody's getting all upset about this.
Is it time for the Savage Lives Matter?
Yeah, Savage Lives Matter. I don't know, because they weren't talking about Chamorros.
Alien Lives Matter.
All of the documentation on all of this had to do with other people. They said the Chamorros actually, they were in awe of our ability to command the oceans and the Sekmans and all the little boats. You know this story. You used to work with Bob. Anyway, so I tend to line up kind of with him, and there are benefits that accrue to us that nobody else has. Among them is we don't have to pay a state tax around here. There's some places that absolutely do. I think there's a state tax in the state of Hawaii, as a matter of fact. Remind me, I don't know if I've got time. I see Kellis there, so maybe I'll just pass it. But I've got one of these articles from the Hawaii News people, and they're basically, one of them is a letter to the editor, why I moved from Hawaii and I'm not going back. Right? And
Sounds like California.
Got family and friends out there, but I cannot afford to ride the inflation train. It's kind of like what people are saying around here, man. I love Guam. I love the people, love the place, love paradise. Too much crime here, and we're never, ever going to have a fully functioning, oh my God, Guam Memorial Hospital. I don't care where you put it. You think about the schools, and you think about what money that you are making here and how much of it is losing its value very quickly. I promise somebody I'd read a letter, not a letter to the editor, but portions of a letter that was written by Felix Camacho and Tony Ada. They wrote a letter to the governor, thought it was so good they bought ads in the newspaper. Said, Governor, read this, everybody. Please release federal pandemic funds. Do your job, Governor Leon Guerrero. And big, bold, white letters against the black backdrop. My God, has there ever been a clearer signal from an opposition government gubernatorial team? I'll read parts of the letter, but I want to get Kellis on the line. I'm going to give him some of the last word today. Hey, Kel.
Hey, so you were saying that you had nothing to talk about, and that reminded me when I was in high school. Yeah. We were supposed to be doing speeches. I completely forgot about it. I was telling my friend that I didn't know. I had no idea. So he volunteered me to go first. So I did an impromptu speech about nothing. And I said, I have nothing to say, and I talked about the word nothing and how important nothing is. That's what makes a door valuable, the nothingness, etc. But I talked for 10 minutes about absolutely nothing.
Nice. It's
I figured
absolutely.
If I could do it then, you could do it now.
Again, I appreciate the support here, Kel. The fact of the matter is, if somebody just put me in front of a microphone and said, "You've got an hour," I could probably do that. When they go, "Okay, listen, can you just dance around here for about 4 minutes until this next thing is ready?" I'm like, yeah, maybe it'd take me a second to come up with all of this, but whatever. But there's always something, and I've got the paperwork in front of me, and I will always be able to riff from one thing to another. I do appreciate it, and I did mention your name earlier because you are one of my electrical heroes on Guam, and it would not surprise me if you and your team went into the former Department of Public Health in Mangilau and found there really wasn't anything wrong in a major let's move everybody out way with their electrical system.
Well, one of the things that we did a lot of work at that particular location, and something that the government of Guam, in particular, for example, they have electricians working at the schools and at the hospitals, etc. But they would hire us because the electricians that they had were not electricians. That's the only way I could put it.
Right. I understand.
So they just did a lot of shortcuts, and a lot of shortcuts make for a lot of problems. But the other thing I wanted to say is, like, most of the time when I call, you only get like a small percentage. I normally talk to Joe, and I just give him a whole bunch of stuff, and we have little conversations off here all the time. So.
Well,
I know that you're
no, it's all. I'd rather have you on the air, but I totally understand. I'm never ever going to hold it against you because you know how I feel about you and your family. So I'll talk to you later, bro.
Okay, peace. You have a good day.
Peace. Bye. Out. What's up? Open letter to Governor Leon Guerrero from the Camacha Ada 2022 campaign dated October the 18th. Wow, it's dated today, and they were able to get it in the newspaper. Oh my God, I love science. Blah, blah, blah. We're calling on you to release nearly $300 million in American Rescue Plan funds into the island community with sustainable programs. This single act will greatly assist to offset the rising cost of living and suffering at every level of our society as a result of the ongoing public health emergency on Guam. As you are aware, these funds were secured through the work of the U.S. Congress, including our delegate, the Honorable Michael F. San Nicolas. You don't say that name to her. You take that name out of your mouth if you're talking to the governor of Guam or anybody in the Democratic Party of Lou. Sorry, there's more. Based on reports at the Guam legislature by your administration, $282 million in federal pandemic funds are sitting idle at the Bank of Guam, the official financial institution of the government of Guam. Media reports that at your direction, you have reportedly held these funds in a Bank of Guam account to build a proposed health care complex in Mangilau. The community is well aware that your hospital proposal has been riddled with unresolved site control and infrastructure issues at the central Guam location. Additionally, the location of the site has not received support from the Guam medical community. I'm just going to say, if you're asking her to do something, it would probably not smart to insult her and her big legacy plan. I would have softened that up somehow, some way, because otherwise, what you're basically saying, it's dumb and nobody likes your idea. Each day, this part here is very important. Each day that money sits in that bank account, inflation erodes away its purchasing power, and the cost of construction continues to rise. We are at a place where people cannot afford to pay their power bills or buy groceries. So please, por favor, do something about getting those federal funds out there. I think that might be the most salient point. Could have made the letter a whole lot shorter and just said, hey, look, the money isn't doing anybody any good sitting in a bank account right now. You get that thing out there because the value of the dollar is going down by the second. It didn't do the financial report, but that probably would have been part of what we were talking about here today. Have I got to go? Is it time for me to get out of here? Wow, can I kill 8 more seconds? Don't know. KUSG Agutnia for Real Joe, Donna D, and Jerry Roberts, Ray Gibson, bidding you a great Tuesday.
Was controlled. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. That's what a House panel found after an investigation into appointees in the Trump administration.
Information from ex-CDC officials, including former Director Robert Redfield, showed the Office of Management and Budget under former President Trump got final say on what health facts were made public. The subcommittee on the COVID crisis has